Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another edition of the Zulu 24 podcast. And as always, our podcast is sponsored by Antec Airsoft Studios. He's good with guns, bad with table saws. Whether you're trying to just make your gun look nice and pretty or make it shoot to the moon and back, head on over to Antec Airsoft Studios if you want to reach out to him online at antecairsoftsstudios.com. And also the Snack Bar. They serve hot food, cold food, red food, blue food, me food, and you food. And also Zulu Outdoor. It's an outdoor store, but it's indoors, so it's an indoor-outdoor store located right here on Zulu 24. If you want to reach out to them, you can give them a call at 845-684-3139. Whether you just need that last-minute item or you need to pick up an entire kit, they've got what you need. Head on over to ZuluOutdoor.com. And also Blue Mag Airsoft. You won't be blue when you shoot their BBs. They've got high-quality BBs, and they're trying to get them manufactured right here in the United States. For more information on that, head on over to BlueMagAirsoft.com. Also, don't forget, you can listen or watch this podcast on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Apple, Amazon, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify with video, and Google. Remember, always like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. Go ahead and push those videos out there. Give it to your grandmother for next birthday. I'm sure she'll love it. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of the Unnamed Podcast, but for right now, we're just calling it the Zulu 24 Podcast. Today, we have with us a special guest from American Milsim. We have Cody Crawford. We'll get to him in a minute. But first, a little Zulu stuff. So as of this recording right now, Crossroads tickets are on sale. They're available over on the website. Just head on over there and pick a team. Also, the Battle of Benghazi down at Panthera Training Center. GRS tickets sold out immediately. That's just the way it is. But Op4 tickets are still available. Hurry up and purchase those tickets soon because the prices go up the closer we get to the Op. And now, I introduce to you the one, the only, the hermit, the man who doesn't like to talk, Cody Crawford from AMS. How you doing, Cody?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. How was your trip out here?
Not too bad. just flight delay and other than that.
Where'd you fly out from?
Started from Oklahoma City, went to DFW, then from DFW to LaGuardia.
Jeez.
Do you live in Oklahoma City, or is that just the biggest place?
I live an hour west of Oklahoma City, so
I feel like everything out west is an hour from anything.
pretty much.
Yeah, it's just dusty roads and tornadoes. You just got to dodge those, and then you're in Oklahoma City.
You chase the tornado.
You chase them.
Yeah.
You stay behind them.
Sometimes.
There's less traffic, though.
Yeah.
Actually, there's probably no traffic out there.
No, not well. Tornadoes, it actually gets more traffic because everybody wants to chase them.
Because they want to chase them.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are crazy.
Yeah, we're not real sharp.
Clearly. Good Lord. So anyway, welcome to the podcast. You guys have an event this weekend, actually. You're hosting it at my field. Shameless plug, Zulu 24 Airsoft Park. Let's talk about that a little bit. Eastern Front.
That's correct. Our third year to be here for Eastern Front.
That's right.
So, love your field. Always had some good games here. So, gonna continue that this weekend.
So it looks good. I mean, the first time you came out, what did people call it? It was like the downpour.
I think both AMSs it rained a lot.
No. Last year didn't rain that much, but the first year was like torrential downpour.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I saw some of the most miserable people I've ever seen on Sunday morning, right? This had nothing to do with the game. It had everything to do with people who were like camping out, like in our parking area or whatever. And I was driving back in on Sunday morning and I saw this kid soaked from head to toe, covered in mud from the top of his head all the way down to his boots. It looked like he slipped and fell and then slid down a hill on his back. And he was like trudging towards the Porta-Johns, like contemplating life. It was amazing.
Yeah, we definitely got a lot of rain that one.
Sure. But this weekend, looking pretty good, man. It's going to be high 70s, low 80s, man. It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah, definitely looks like we're going to have real good weather. So,
yeah, man.
Beneficial on this one.
All right. So I started recently doing this. I've been using Chat GPT. I always mess that up and say BT, right? And so I just typed you in, and it came up with some questions, and we're just going to rapid fire them. You ready for that?
Let her rip.
Roger that. And I'm just going to read them as they're written. So they're probably not too bad. Number 1. Oh, you might have to edit that out.
I got you. Don't worry.
Can you tell us about the origins of American Milsim and how the company came to be?
This is a tough one.
Well, so look, okay. So you can say your introduction to AMS and how you came to
Okay, yeah, that's a lot easier because there's a couple different stories depending on who you talk to.
Ooh, sounds like money changed hands. Little envelope.
There's been some things go down. From my side of it, I actually had a friend introduce me to AMS. Asked me to go to a game. My first game was Broken Home 4. Started going to the games, got into leadership, and then found out about the direct action missions. Mm-hmm. And actually, they needed some help on one of them. And I was like, I'm coming to GTI. Now I'm going to be there early.
Yeah.
Cheaper flights. So if y'all need a hand, I'm there, so I'll help out. So whether that was a good idea or a bad idea, I became staff and then chief of staff, and then now I'm part owner with Bo.
Congratulations, man. It's a long hill to climb, man.
It's a strange one. A lot of my friends are like, "Man, how'd you do that?" And I was like, "I don't really know." Apparently, they
shook hands and you know what you're doing.
They like my work ethic, or decided, "Hey, we might want to keep this guy around." So
awesome, man. So go ahead.
I want to know more about how that. So you were a player. So you were there. You were paying to play and everything, and then they had, like you said, there was like missions, basically like participation missions within the games that you were able to do as a player, and then you took a leadership role as a player. Like they needed a squad leader for something, and
so actually my third event that I ever went to, they actually made me a platoon leader. They needed somebody and asked if anybody would want to do it. It's like, well, I'll give it a shot. And then,
wait.
So how do they ask you?
So wait. So the shy hermit man that lives in the woods by himself and hates talking to people, you raised your hand. You're like, yeah, I want to lead 40 to 60 dudes.
I did. Strangely enough.
Good for you, kid.
You don't have to talk too much when you lead. You just point and say go.
That's how the snipers.
So when he contacted you, that you guys had exchanged numbers at this point.
So at this point, this was just me being a player, and then our leadership contacts everybody on the team level.
Right.
So email came out and they said, "Hey, we need for everybody that was a squad leader." So for my team, I was a squad leader. Yeah. They asked for an actual platoon leader, so I was sure I'll do it.
So you basically just got promoted, in the airsoft ranks. You started off as a private. Then
you're an airsoft lieutenant general.
Yeah. So then, how was your first time as platoon leader? Like, what went down that was that solidified you as like yeah, we need this guy, we need him. It's like an anime plot.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting story, actually. Been pictures of it. So one of the old owners, JP, was on the opposite team, and one of our platoon's main mission was to capture and assassinate said person, and get fingerprints, get everything. We were behind lines.
Yeah.
I found him. Our whole squad and half the platoon walked right past him.
Oh, shit.
And I turned and I was like, there's JP.
Found him.
So we all start just shooting him. And I grabbed him and pull him up over a ravine, fingerprint card him, and then we start getting overrun like crazy. So I just booked it back to command and to the fob. And
you brought your guys with you, or did you lose some good men?
I lost all but one.
He was a lone survivor.
I had one other guy, but I had my running shoes on apparently that day and handed the card in, and I was like, I'm going to need a break.
Yeah. Holy shit.
So yeah, after that, it was, if you want to get stuff done, send Cody and his group. So.
Only Cody makes it back every time, but they get it done.
Yeah, somehow. Yeah.
This man loses every man underneath him. Give him a platoon.
Yeah, well,
No questions.
they're
asked.
good. They're a good shield, and they'll let me go do my thing.
You're like the Blackwater.
He's like mission over everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
PMC Cody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. It's kind of funny, the story, because that's kind of the way that I became a part of Zulu. Same thing, right? I was a player. This new field was opening up, Zulu 24. So I went down the road and played there. Because I did that, I got banned from the field I used to play at. It was like a weird, dramatic thing. But anyway, so I played over there, and then my buddy got out of the Marine Corps. We started we tried to start this little training company. And we approached Zulu to be like, hey, can we do stuff here? And then some things had happened with my business partner that he was just lazy as fuck. So I approached Mario and I was like, hey man, I invested a bunch of money here. Like, can I get in? And he was like, yep. And then that's how I got into Zulu. So it's kind of very similar to the way that you got into AMS, man. That's awesome. Climbed the ranks, my friend.
We have staff too. Like most of our staff, they come as players, and then they just play well, and they're like, they're picking up what
decent human beings.
Yeah, they're decent. They pick up what everybody's putting down. It's just like, welcome.
Yeah,
welcome.
That's where I snipe all my staff from the player base because I need somebody who knows what Airsoft's all about. All right, so question number 2. What motivated you to create a company focused on military simulations events? What drew you to the Milsim community? So I guess as a player, what drew you to the Milsim community?
Really just, I've always been a gun guy. I build guns right now. I do Cerakote work. So
good for you.
Anything to get to use guns and play with guns on the weekend and, get to go shoot your buddy in the forehead if you want.
Oh, God.
I mean, sounds fun, right?
So you said Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how are how's the freedom level in Oklahoma?
I mean, we can kind of do what we want.
So I've heard, yeah. You can go into the store, get a handgun, carry it right then and there.
These are legends.
I mean, I bought, just this last Saturday, I walked into one gun store, walked out with 5, went to another one, walked out with 2.
How versed are you with New York's gun laws?
Yeah, not.
You're gonna hear when we talk to people from a freedom state about New York's gun laws, it's like when Cubans came to America and they're telling us about communism.
Yeah, right. Oh man, yeah. That is to us. That's a fairy tale legend that never really actually happened. Like that place doesn't exist.
Yeah,
I mean, for prime comparison, I'm looking at the Oklahoma laws right now. This is borderline, if not, someone can correct me in the comments section, a constitutional carry, because anyone over the age of 21 can carry a loaded firearm in public, openly or concealed without a license.
I think we were the third state. Third state.
So in New York, I'm 12 months in on a pistol permit process just to get one.
And that's not even that bad.
Mine took 3 years.
Yeah.
And I started it just before COVID, and then COVID happened. So I started July 2019, and then I got mine January of 2020.
And now it's every 6 months the laws
2022.
change.
January 2022, I got it. Yeah.
Because the laws when he got it are different than the laws when I started my process over again, because they lost my paperwork the first time, and now it's you have to turn over social media accounts, you have to turn over your private stuff, you have to show them this, that, and the other, proof of residency, bills from your address, just to get a permit. And I just got all of my paperwork done, and they're like, cool, we'll let you know in 10 to 12 months.
And you haven't even purchased the gun yet, right? So So then when you purchase the gun, there's a whole nother set of rigmarole, right? You go there, you pay for the firearm. Well, you do all your NICS checks and all that stuff. You pay for the firearm. So the FFL,
yes,
yeah, the FFL has to keep it there, and then you submit that to the local sheriff.
And they have to amend your license, which can take anywhere between, depending on the town you live in, a week, could take a month. You don't really know.
That's the other thing is that it's county based. So there's the New York State gun laws, but then the processes are down to the counties. So you go, for instance, I live in Ulster County, which is one county north of Orange County. The field is in Orange. I live in Ulster. Just crossing that imaginary line,
there's different laws.
The rules change instantly on how that process goes. It's absolutely bananas. And then recently they were just So the county issues you your state license,
Yep.
right? Because that makes sense. And then the state recently was like, hey, actually they didn't really tell anybody, but they're like, hey, every 5 years you have to renew it. You don't have to pay anything.
No, you don't have to pay anything.
You don't have to pay anything.
I just did it for my dad.
Yeah, you don't have to pay anything. You just have to go on the website and basically click.
That you want to renew it.
That's it.
And the more crazy part with that too is now, so like it's always been this way, but the federal government sets the laws, the states can make laws more restrictive, and then that's kind of how it goes.
Yeah.
The counties can make it even more restrictive. So like Dave lives in Putnam, I live in Orange,
I don't
but I
live in
took,
Putnam.
or
I don't.
not Putnam,
I live in Ulster.
Ulster, sorry. But you now have to take a 20-hour pistol course if you want to buy a handgun in New York.
I think the main difference between when I did mine and when Jordan did his was this was
this leads into what I was going to say.
I was pre-Bruin decision in the Supreme Court. So New York State Pistol Rifle Association versus Bruin was basically a lawsuit about this guy carrying outside of his home, and he was denied a permit because they wanted a reasonable. The county demanded that he has a like just cause for carrying.
So New York
They
is not a shall issue.
Yeah.
It is now, actually.
It is.
It's a shall issue state now, but before it was a may issue.
So you have to provide them a good enough reason to
Yeah.
warrant you owning a firearm.
So what it came down to before was like, you can do all the paperwork, you could be law abiding, you could pass the NICS check and everything, but the state for some reason could still dictate whether or not you can or can't ultimately carry, which made it, may issue. And that was deemed unconstitutional. After that, it became a shall issue state.
Yeah.
I started when we were a may issue state. So I had to,
Prove everything.
yeah.
But that's what I was getting at with mine, because the whole the federal government, state government, but county, because I had to take that class and I took it in Westchester. Westchester is even worse than the others.
Sure.
Because like Dave said, you have to renew your permit every 5 years. Westchester mandates it that it's every 3 years. But also to get your permit, you have to schedule an appointment with the Westchester sheriff for them to come inspect your house, because they, as a county, require you have a safe, and the sheriff wants to see the safe. And that's just a Westchester County thing.
So
Yeah.
I'm assuming y'all don't get SBRs or suppressors.
Tax stamps
What's
are
that?
illegal in the state of New York.
I don't
to
even know
begin
what
with.
that is. I've heard stories about this SBR and
Yeah, you're not legally allowed to
suppressors?
have short barrel rifles or suppressors in New York. It's statewide. It's illegal to have a tax stamp.
Yeah. Super fun.
But if you move to Pennsylvania, legal.
Yeah.
Huh.
Imaginary one imaginary line over.
And then once you get your gun, now that gun has to be compliant with the SAFE Act.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can't have scary features on it.
Yeah.
What's a scary feature, Anthony?
Okay, so with rifles,
7.
any semi-automatic rifle
Magazine fed.
with a detachable magazine cannot have one or more of these scary features. A pistol grip.
Well, it can have
like-
one.
No, it can't have.
Well, the detachable magazine is the one.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. So if it has a detachable magazine, you can't have any of these. These are like a threaded muzzle that can accept a device, and pretty much any muzzle device aside from, I think, a muzzle brake.
So you
can't have a foregrip. You can't have a pistol grip. You can't have a telescoping or folding stock.
Yeah.
You can't have a bayonet lug or
bayonet
a
lug.
bayonet.
A bayonet
And
lug.
You can't have a grenade launcher. That's fucking outrageous.
Because of all the bayonettings that have happened in New
Yeah.
York.
And
But if
you're-
you have a fixed mag,
Or, I mean,
like you can't detach your mag
Yeah.
without breaking the action of the firearm.
You can have one of the other features instead.
No, you can have all of the features
Yeah, you
if you have
can.
a
You can
fixed
have all.
mag.
It's weird. So if you got a lever gun, you can trick that pony out, man.
So people did
yeah.
others, and they had pistol brace because they're like, well, they said semi-automatic rifle.
Yeah.
Well, the definition of a rifle is that it is meant to be shouldered and fired with 2 hands. But if
Yeah.
you put a pistol brace on it,
Yeah.
that's not meant to be shouldered.
And the thing with the others were it was too long to be a pistol and too short to be a rifle. So it was considered an other firearm, which in the New York State SAFE Act was not regulated. So you can have all of the features without any problems until the New York State Supreme Court came down and was like, absolutely fucking not. You're not doing this anymore. And even to plus that up, now with your pistol permit license, you have to check the box that says you want this also to be a semi-automatic rifle license, because now you need a license in New York for any semi-automatic
Yeah.
rifle.
If you bought a AR or AK variant prior to this,
You got
change,
grandfathered in.
Yeah. If I were to go and buy an AR now, I would basically just have to put it on. I would have to register it under my pistol permit. So
Yeah.
I have one gun registered, and that's my handgun. And I don't want to register.
And then after all of this,
I don't like registries.
You can still only have 10 round mags.
you can still only have 10 round mags. I think you're gonna have one in the pipe though.
No, you can't. I looked
I thought it
into
was 7.
So it's for handguns, it's 10, but literally the instructor said they were like, don't do any of this bullshit 10 plus 1 in the chamber. They're like, if you get caught with that, you're still going to jail.
I was told otherwise.
I think that depends on the cop. But anyway, so
Yeah.
after all of that process, because I have a full carry, right?
Oh, yeah.
I can't carry at schools. I can't carry at the post office. Obviously, any government building, the bank, any place that serves alcohol.
Even if you're not drinking.
Even if you're not drinking.
So like if you go to a coffee shop that happens to have beer or wine as well,
Or
because some coffee shops around here do that,
Yeah.
can't take your gun.
Yep.
The more ridiculous part is on that list, which it apparently recently got struck down. I still got to look into the paperwork on that. You also are not allowed to carry in any public park.
Sweet.
So
I can carry from my door to my car.
and at your business
My-
and maybe the grocery store, but you're not allowed to go on a hike and carry your gun. But I will say from what the instructor told me when I took my class, because I asked that question, I'm like, hey, my girlfriend and I go on hikes all the time. Like I can't carry my concealed carry in a state park, but like bears or people trying to stab me, like it could happen. And she was just like, if you're going to bring your girl, bring your gun. That simple as that. You'd rather be judged by 12 than carried
Can
by
you say
6.
that into this microphone?
Yeah, can you say that into this
please?
mic, please?
We got off on a tangent. I'm sorry.
So you're from a freedom
That's
state.
a heavily debated topic in our
we
group.
get excited. We get excited when we hear these fantastical stories about freedom states. So it sparks up a bunch of
Guns
emotion.
got you into Milsim.
So guns got you.
Did
in
you
Milsim.
serve at all?
I did not.
You did not? You strike me as somebody who would have.
Being a gun guy, though, Cody, I have a question for you. For rifles, what's your favorite kind of caliber?
Ooh,
6.8.
that's very close. It
6.8.
really depends on what for.
Okay. Are you a bolt gun guy?
Yeah, I've got bolt guns. I've got lever guns. I mean, I got guns.
Well, out of your bolt guns, what's your favorite caliber?
300 Remington Ultra Mag.
That is a
That
dope
was-
round.
That was really quick and really specific, and I have no fucking idea what that is.
If you wanted to win a world war, what caliber?
God's caliber.
There's only one.
A World War.
Yeah.
Statistically speaking, if
He's
you
making a
wanted,
joke about 45.
statistically speaking, if you wanted high chance of winning another world war,
30-06 probably won that war.
Yeah.
12.7 millimeter.
Oh, 50 cal.
Yeah, that works.
I know that one.
So in Oklahoma, do you guys have like actual like good long distance ranges where you can go out and practice, say, shooting out to 1,000?
are your targets an hour away?
Or are you
I know what he's going to say, and it's going to be hilarious. Go ahead.
private property?
Yeah. So I live out in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
So I have a pistol, a carbine, a rifle, and a long rifle range. I've got a target at 1,400 yards.
Good for you.
I envy you.
So it's not an hour away, unless you want to walk to that 1,400 yard target. 'Cause you
Sure,
gotta go
yeah.
off the bluff into the river, and so it's a long ways. But no, it's at my house, so I can walk out the back door.
That's awesome.
So I used to do home inspections another lifetime ago, and we were inspecting this. It's kind of like a ski chalet, multi-million-dollar property. The driveway was like a mile long, and it weaved up. There was like a bear holding a sign halfway up that said, "You're halfway there," or whatever. Super nice house, right? It's almost like Walt Disney built a ski chalet like type house. Anyway, master bedroom, right? Master bedroom. All the bedrooms had a balcony. Master bedroom had a larger balcony. And I looked on the ground, and there were shotgun casings all over the ground. And then I looked out, and there's like a pond and a lake. And then I looked over, and there's a control panel that's like, oh yeah, on. And I asked the real estate agent, I was like, what is this? And they're like, oh, that's his private skeet shooting. This guy, whoever he was, would get out of bed. He was probably ass naked, because if I had that house, I'd be ass naked fucking constantly, right? Probably went outside, grabbed his shotgun from wherever he kept it, walked outside on his balcony, just naked as a jaybird, and then pressed a button and went, pull. It was voice activated. Pull, and somewhere out there, a fucking
A clay just
would just launch, and this dude would just be shooting off his fucking. That's kind of what you have, except it's a 1,400 yard range.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We had a little brownout. I guess New York State heard we were talking about freedoms, and they were just like, "No, we can't let the word of freedom get out," so they cut our feed. That's right.
Speaking of freedom and tyranny, is Lucas Bakken nice in person?
Ooh, good question. You're on the spot, baby.
I use a sidecar. I like T-Rex arms.
There are 400 people watching this right now, probably.
I will have to say, from my experience, he came up, talked to me. We talked about doing a collab together because he found out kind of what I do too.
Yeah.
And he was cool and very nice, very polite, very personable the entire single time. Like I talked to him.
Actually, it brings up another good question. You guys have had like a lot of, I hesitate to use the word celebrities, but like YouTube gun guys.
Travis Haley.
Yeah, Haley's been to a couple of our events. Yeah.
So Ryan from Fatco, I did a live stream with him, and he was talking to me about that. How like I think there was like a raffle or something, and he built a gun, and like I guess Travis Haley was like, "All right, let's give it away," and then they like signed it, and guys
yeah, they've done a whole
crazy stuff
paint
with that.
job, and he signed it and done a whole bunch of cool stuff like that. So yeah, and Haley's really awesome because he even talks about how Milsim and Airsoft is better for the training stuff.
Sure.
Than you sitting there shooting a still target.
Sure. And actually that was so that tiny little business that I started up right when I got out of the Marine Corps was training utilizing Airsoft, and it was just not the right time. And also I'm a nobody, you know what I mean? It's going to take somebody like Travis Haley, Grantham, you know, all those guys to really chip in and make it real. But I saw the training value in it too back then. I was like, yes, it doesn't mark the target or whatever, but it's still weapons manipulation. It's still movement and communication and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a lot out of it. And it's not perfect by any means. I mean, there is no perfect system because you can't replicate a bullet. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It's learning like what you should be focusing on when you're doing reps. And as one guy put it to us, you know, the way that, you know, we used to learn how to clear rooms was you go in there, one guy died.
Yep.
And then it was like, well, we should probably maybe pie the corner, and then he died, and they found a better way to do it. But with Airsoft, you can clear a room like a handful of times in one day, you know, 100 times in one day.
Yeah.
And you can get that instant response. Did you get shot? Yeah. Did it hurt? Yeah. You're like, and you're going to almost self-correct to some degree. Like practice also makes permanent. So you don't want to practice bad habits. And it's good to know what those are. But when it comes to isolating certain things, man, you just get the repetition in, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things about doing events in different areas too, because you're not with the same group of guys every time. So you might pick up something new from some other guy,
Sure,
or another team that you happen to run with, and you're like, oh, that's cool.
yeah,
And then I can teach my guys, and then you're also not just gun manipulation, your gear,
Yeah.
your comms, and communication with other units or your little squads,
yeah.
and movement while you're actually shooting instead of standing there in your 3-point stance and
man.
shooting still.
I get we used to, I don't want to say I used to know, but a friend of mine named Tim, he was in the German Special Forces. He was on loan to West Point as an instructor over there. And so we became friends. He actually came out to the Airsoft shop, and he was like, oh my God, what is this? This is cool. And then he just went like deep down the training rabbit hole with Airsoft. It's pretty cool. But a perk of that was that he would do classes at the West Point shooting range. The West Point shooting range is freaking phenomenal. It's indoor. What is it, 50 yards?
No, I think it was 30.
Whatever. So he would get the indoor range, and then he would do like little training stuff where you could actually like go in front of the line and move. And we actually like set up a mock like room clearing and stuff. It was so cool.
Doing glass houses with real guns is
Yeah,
wild.
It was a lot of fun, man. But I feel like a lot of ranges are just because of safety and whatnot.
Yeah.
And also you never know who the guy's going to be. It's not going to be, you know, a German Special Forces guy. It could just be, you know, Elmer Fudd, who's just like, I'm going to try to do this today, and then, you know, shoots himself in the leg or whatever. I think more ranges need to not loosen up. That's not the right word, right? Like they need to come up with a protocol where you can actually move while you're shooting, and you know what I mean?
Yes.
There are some places around here that do that. Because like prime example, I know we don't, you know, give free advertisement, but Blue Line, the range I go to in Westchester,
Yeah.
on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, I don't know if it's every Tuesday and every Thursday night, but they do it monthly. They do pistol or rifle competition. So it's not 3-gun,
Yeah.
but it's also a little competitive where they go in front of the line, they use Vickers barricades, and they do moving and shooting with a pistol or a rifle or both, depending on the night. And it's just buy in like potluck. So not potluck, I forgot the term, but you just show up, it's $5 a round.
Yeah.
And you can do that, but they also have their RSOs moving with you the whole
Sure.
time, and you have to show competency before you do it.
Yeah.
But there are places around here that do stuff like that.
Yeah. We were actually thinking about, still thinking about. Anthony wanted to like build a range at Zulu.
I'm going to build
Yeah.
the berm. I had to reorganize my shop because I got an intern. I got to give him a bench, right? And then I got hospitalized, and I got a little slowed down. But it's gonna happen.
It's been like a year.
I'm waiting for it to get dry because I don't want to get any vehicle I borrow stuck on the bottom of the hill.
So they came to me with this idea. We have a bunch of old tires that are left from like the paintball.
We have
field
about like
up there.
600 tires.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Of varying size.
So
huge ones.
So they were like, we want to build a range. I was like, dude, use the tires. Use the tires, fill the tires with dirt, make it like four tires deep, dude. Make a little horseshoe range, dude. It'd be great. And I'm encouraging them to do this because I want to shoot there.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want, we shoot. Well, actually, we can't even shoot in the spot where we usually shoot anymore because we put a building there. But I keep hearing about it, and I keep reminding him about it, like right now, because I want it to get done.
Yeah. Well, them is just me. So when it does start, it's going to take a long time.
That was the other caveat. When Anthony said that was the other caveat. I was like, I'm not going to help you.
He said if I get the tires to the location, then
I'll rent a machine. And we can
fill and all the other guys that are like, yeah, I'm down. I know that the moment it's like, all right, today, this time, they're gonna be like, well, whatever.
Yeah, I told them straight up.
But then when the range is done, they're gonna be like, oh yeah,
they're gonna
use it.
They're gonna shoot every week.
Yeah.
I told Anthony straight up. I was like, you're gonna do this by yourself. Everybody's gonna be like, yeah, I'll pitch in. You're gonna be out there by yourself, dude.
Guaranteed.
It's just the way it is.
It'll be awesome would we be allowed to use that to make like content too, like airsoft related content that might incorporate real steel?
I don't know if it's a good business decision to mix both of them together.
Right.
Yeah, that's a touchy little subject.
Yeah, I mean,
because
if you're Travis Haley, sure.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna teach you how to reload. No. But I did make a video about airsoft guns for training, but it was because I'm a tech. So my whole perspective was what platforms are good at replicating what aspects of firearms, So I went over just basic AEGs. What do they fulfill? Like, okay, kit shakedown. You can do all that with a basic AEG. Some other guns have like realistic trigger breaks. Other ones have recoil, bolt stop features. So they allow you to work some, isolate some aspects of your muscle memory.
I ran gas blowback. With 30 cap mag.
And we talked about
all
the time, just
Love
because I didn't want to retrain myself on how to go actually shoot because of airsoft. You get a lot of people that are like, that's not smart. I'm like, well, for a long drawn out airsoft game, it's kind of rough. I will definitely say that, but at the same time, I don't want to get rid of my other talent.
Sure.
Because of that. So, and that's one thing that I think the gas blowback or the recoil shock stuff with the real cap mags are really beneficial. And that's more where I would say doing a more simulation style videos and stuff where you can kind of almost overlap would be with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not a shooting instructor at all. But, I understand how firearms function mechanically and how airsoft guns function. And we can, it doesn't take a genius to put two and two together to be like, look, like airsoft is great because it's cheap and you can check your kit out. So when you do spend that $200 or whatever to do that real steel course, you don't discover then that like you're fucking around with your sling wrong or your pouches suck.
Have you ever seen the video of the kid from Japan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that tells you right there.
Yeah.
He's never been able to touch a real gun in his life. He's only had an airsoft gun. And
Gas
he was
gun.
out shooting everybody.
Yeah.
Well, but he was fast and he was proficient. I don't know, only because I don't remember. I don't know what his impacts were like, right? So his
I remember. So initially they were like, but then Lucas was just like, all right, adjust here, hold it like that. He just took like basic fundamentals, trigger pull, breath, all that.
And that's something
I think they also spent like 2 days doing that, which is like in the beginning, yes, he was like, like the impacts are kind of wide. By the end of those, day or two of shooting, he was getting a lot better.
Also, I mean, you've shot pistol, I've shot pistol, I'm sure you've shot pistol, and I'm positive you've shot pistols. Like sometimes just hitting paper while moving that fast, and I'm talking about this kid from Japan, right? While moving that fast is freaking hard, man. Pistols are hard to shoot. And so the fact that he's, I mean, yeah, they were like 7 yards
Yeah.
or whatever. I mean, you can basically just point and shoot, but still.
Having the ability to do that is impressive to begin with, because pistols are
Right.
not the easiest thing in the world to shoot.
Yeah.
They're really hard to shoot.
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, I don't use an RMR or anything. I just have iron sights. And it's like, I gotta take a minute to.
Arguably, sometimes using a red dot on a handgun is even harder, depending on the optic, because now you're looking for the dot. Like, you get so comfortable with the muscle memory of finding the front and the rear sight, that now finding the dot changes the entire game.
That's true. Yeah, with Sean's gun, it was the same thing. I'm always like, where the fuck is the dot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You're a gas gun guy. Do you still use gas guns?
Yes and no.
What brand did you like the most?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So
you better answer it right.
my first one was a Wii Scar.
Okay. I'm assuming you've learned and made better life
see?
choices.
Here we go. What's the
Well-
next one? What's the next one?
My latest one is the MP7.
KWA?
Mhm.
Okay.
No, the Elite Force.
Oh, the VFC one.
Yes.
Is that gas? This
Yeah,
one?
so they have a VFC gas MP7.
That's
Oh,
that's
shit.
the one that.
Nope, I just got it.
Oh,
The
that's
Tokyo Marui gas blowback MP7.
That
When we go to
goes-
the shop later, I'll show it to you.
That
Yeah.
gas.
I'm a huge MP7 fanboy, but I myself am also a big gas gun nerd. I have a bunch of GHK guns. Yeah, Dave tells me they shoot like shit, and that might be true, but I have a lot of fun with them.
The other problem is you mentioned him earlier, Ryan, with Fatco Customs.
Yeah.
He has spoiled me rotten.
With
Yeah.
AEGs.
Yeah.
Did he get you into
because-
recoil shocks?
No, I still don't have one of those yet.
Okay.
Working on it, but I don't get to play hardly ever anymore,
Yeah.
if any. But his just regular guns, the way they shoot and their trigger response is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
It's I loved gas guns. I had briefly like a
You had an LM4.
LM4 and they're cool. And it's like, man, like when you in CQB, when you get that kill with a gas gun, it's so satisfying because you know that you like an AEG can outperform to any gas gun, in my opinion. Like I've never shot a gas gun that was worth a damn except for that Tokyo Marui MP7, which I just shot the other
Yesterday.
day, right? But man, would it be cool? So we did this twice actually on Memorial Day.
Oh, gas gun day.
And we did a gas gun day. It was so cool because everybody had the same handicap.
right.
So firefights were lasting a good while because A, it was pouring down rain. B,
It was 40 players, gas guns only, and it was a
guns
bunch of
only.
us running around with like GHK
So
M4s and AKs, a couple LM4s, and a lot of people just using pistols.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, you
But hear
don't
me-
get 200 round mag dumps just
right?
in
Yeah.
30 seconds.
But hear me out, dude. I'm living in a fantasy dreamlike like world, right? 200 players, a weekend event, an op where it's gas guns, real caps.
That might actually make
Yo.
that WE gas blowback 249 worth a damn.
Yo,
Have you seen those? They have a gas blowback 249 in PKM now.
Really?
Yeah, it only holds like 250 rounds though. I saw it and was like, well, this is useless. And you have to use 60 gram CO2 cartridges in the box mag.
Ooh.
Cool, but the box mag is still the same size as the big green 249 box mag, and it only holds like 250
that
rounds.
yeah, but
Yeah.
200 is a belt for us.
It is.
And-
So it makes
and the
sense.
weight.
But then when you have guns like our saws and my PKM
Well, sure.
and stuff like that hold 4,000 or 5,000 rounds in a box mag, useless. There's no point to
Yeah.
spending $700 on this gun. But if you got a community where we're going to do 100v100, force on force, gas
Yo.
guns only, that'd be dope.
I can see gas shotguns, like the APS
Reigning
ones.
supreme. Yeah.
You know, those 870s that were like you actually have to load each shell with gas, and when you eject it, it's
Yeah.
You're just
I used to
constantly
have one
running
like that.
around.
So I used to have the
shells.
Marushan shell ejecting gas shotgun. Shoots like dog shit. Cool as shit. It was like very, very similar to my real pump action shotgun to the T. But it was one of those shotguns you could put 1 or 10 BBs in the shell and it shell ejected every time. If you put 1 in, you get about 100 feet of range.
Yeah.
You put 10 in, you're not hitting anything more than 5 feet away from you.
Yeah, but you could breach a door. Look
Oh,
cool on
yeah,
your
but it
YouTube.
was also a full-size shotgun. It was like a
Hell yeah.
17-inch barrel.
Dude, I mean, imagine like 200 gas guns going off at Guardian, man.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Dude. And the ranges are pretty close there, so it wouldn't really matter that
somebody's
much.
gonna like light a lighter and then
Yeah.
Yeah, you have so many guns going off in one building that
Yeah.
somebody accidentally sparks it and it combusts.
So much SMAP gas in the air. Hey, have you messed around with the GBLS at all?
I have not.
Okay, so
We will this weekend. I'll make sure there's one there.
Are you familiar with it?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. That is a cool gun, man. So for everybody listening, it's an AEG that functions and performs exactly like
A gas gun.
blowback. It's got a reciprocating bolt, it's got bolt lock, everything. But it's a little bit more consistent than the gas gun. And the only deal though is like when you shoot it, you sound like it's breaking.
It sounds like it's breaking itself apart because like it doesn't make a clunk or a chunk. It's like a weird chirp with all of that in one.
Yeah, it's weird.
One of our friends has one. I'll make sure it's there this weekend so you could take a look at it.
Yes. So
Super cool.
one of the guys that does Body Armor Vent, one of our sponsors.
Yeah.
He actually has one, and he lives pretty close to me. He helps me with all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But he had one, and he's put a ton of rounds through it.
Yeah, man.
And he liked it. But
they shoot well.
I've never actually messed with them.
It's pretty neat. There's a little bit of recoil impulse, and the bolt, like I said, is reciprocating, so you get bolt lock and everything. It's pretty neat, and I think you can reel cap the mags.
So all of the GBLS mags, like the Stanag ones, are 30 or 60 rounds. They've got a button that you just press to make it different capacity. The PTS mags, the PTS EPM mags for GBLS are 30 or 120.
Yeah.
But I got to play 2 weekends with our friends one. It was one of the best shooting airsoft guns I've ever used. It's just the fact that there is like a 9-pound trigger pull, and the fact that it does sound like it's killing itself every time you shoot it, and I just couldn't get over the noise. But it's a really cool gun. The price tag's a little bit much, but if you're going to be spending $1,200-$1,400 on a custom AEG to get one of these brand new, it's about $2,000.
Yeah, and I think it comes with 5 bags.
Depends on where you buy it from, because like right now that kit you're talking about on the GBLS website is out of stock, but I know we can get them in the store if somebody wanted to order one through PTS, and it's like the challenge kit one, so it comes with everything already assembled, one mag, except for a rail and a stock. You have to get your own rail and stock, and you get to pick it, so that way the gun's custom to you.
Awesome.
So odd side note, right? So when GBLS was starting, I can't remember.
Well, they were based out of New York City. I think they still are.
Yeah. Oh, so when we moved locations, right? When Zulu moved locations, we had our grand opening at our new location, and there was a guy who broke his leg that day.
Oh, I was there for that.
Turns out that was the owner of GBLS.
Interesting.
Yep, didn't know about that later. And then he came back. I think we were having just a regular flea market weekend or something like that. And he came out and he's like, "Hey, can I set up a tent?" Whatever. And then he was showcasing the GBLS, and he gave me his business card. Best business card I've ever held. It was like thick. You could kill a man with it. Like the edges were beveled, and it was this like cobalt blue on the edge, but it was like a bone colored card with it was an amazing. I've never that card stands out in my mind to this very day. And it was only the other day Anthony had a card for some real estate guy.
Do you know the name on it?
JB. I remember it was JB.
It's right over there.
It's over there.
Yeah.
And it's another nice card, but his business card was amazing, man.
Yeah.
So if
that guy, he was actually a customer. I fixed his gun on the weekend. I forgot what I did.
Was it a GBLS?
No, I think I wired his gun to Dean's or something. But yeah, nice guy. Nice business card.
It was a great business card. All right.
Shout out to JB.
Shout out to JB. Wherever real estate in Connecticut. That's another card. All right. Question number 3. Oh, we're only at number 3. How would you describe the unique experience and atmosphere that participants can expect at American Milsim events? So what sets Milsim West or Milsim American Milsim apart? Freudian slip.
He's played a lot of Milsim West.
I haven't. I've only played
You want me to cut that and we can redo it?
No.
Okay.
No, it's kind of comical. So, no. So the thing that kind of everybody has kind of their own style.
Sure.
Everybody does their own thing. And even though I haven't tried anybody else's games.
Yep.
And it's not because I just don't choose to.
Sure.
I just have never even attempted or knew much about the other groups.
Yeah.
Obviously just because I tried AMS first, and then
Just
where
kinda
I'm
stuck
at now,
with it,
just kind of happened that way. I would like to try somebody else's because, like I said, everybody's got a different aspect on stuff. So American Milsim stuff is we try to do a military style experience.
Yeah.
While still doing a little bit of airsoft.
Sure.
So we don't go, all day, all night. We also don't do breaks during Saturdays. So we start and try to go all day long.
Yeah.
And what we really try to bring out is like basically you start with mission plan, and then for like what I try to design games and stuff with is fragos.
Sure.
Anything in the military, you never know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So you're throwing random missions in if some team's doing really good or finds certain little props or something. Just kind of wing it.
Yeah.
And say, hey, we might want to do this.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've always kind of enjoyed doing. So that's kind of where we try to do our mission based ideas on.
So you guys kind of like whiteboard a mission, and then while the players are doing it, you're just like, oh, game plan change. Now you got to do this with it.
We're trying not to do a whole bunch of that.
Yeah.
Usually, like, because I write all of our op boards, and then I have like my game control document.
Yeah.
That I have little side missions on.
Cool.
That when a time comes or a game's going really good, and the players are really wanting something else fun to do because they've done so good and basically done everything way too early.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, side mission time.
Nice.
So, and for more of the airsoft group customers, nobody that hasn't been in the military,
Yeah.
which I haven't either, but from movies and friends and everybody that I've always been around,
Yeah.
they've told me stories. Try to think of it as, you go in, you have your mission, you happen to find something that you didn't know what was going to be there.
Sure. Creates a follow on.
What do you got to do?
Yeah.
You got to call up command. Hey, we just found this. What do we do? Well, then they've got to call, their bosses and HQ, be like, hey, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So then you can kind of create another side mission from that, or, you're working on a mission and shit goes sideways.
Sure.
Then you got to change your mission plan and do everything like that. So that's kind of my mentality on how we do things and how I like to structure the American Milsim games.
And do you guys use ATAC to help coordinate all that? I saw on your site a link to that. Yeah.
We recently started using, I use WinTAC. That's just the Windows version. ATAC is Android. ITAC is Apple.
ITAC sucks. I have Apple. ITAC sucks.
Oh.
ATAC is.
Can you run ATAC on an iPhone or no?
No.
Oh,
You have to have ITAC.
Oh,
There's some type of
Apple.
way to make ITAC and ATAC work together, but it's not.
It's
viable.
still it doesn't quite work out because Apple won't let
Of course not. It's a competitor.
ATAC,
I have
because
some
ATAC is an actual Android based
Yeah.
platform.
Yeah.
So we just incorporated that this year. Been using it at the last 3 events.
Yeah.
Started at Guardian Center. It's been a pretty big success. I really like it because it reminds me of Blue Force Tracker,
Sure.
but on steroids. And it's more updated. You can get live drone feeds, and your players can actually pull up their phone if they don't have an iPhone.
Well,
And they can click on the drone and say, I want the camera to look over to the west.
Oh, that's wild.
So they can actually change the camera angles on the drone where it'll actually change and show certain little areas, and you can actually have it hover over you.
Yeah.
So we're starting to incorporate that pretty heavy.
That's awesome.
And what other, like, what would you say is like the total amount of hardware you're using with ATAC? Obviously, it's not just like you guys are using your phones and communicating. You're obviously using a drone with it. Are you guys also using like data radios and stuff? Because I have some experience with it because I'm an intern at West Point with their robotics research, and we do stuff with their FAST team, and it involves us using like ATAC and some robots, obviously.
Yeah.
And all these robots had different payloads on them, data radios, and we were able to use ATAC to see where everybody was and where their like unmanned assets were, and then also go into those unmanned assets, like control them and see what's going on, and we were able to record all of that too, and build like an AAR with all of that. In addition to that, it was used for comms with their radios. So it was like a whole network. Like, what does it look like?
So right now we're very fresh, just really trying to figure out the player base side of it, and how the players are going to start incorporating this. We've got a pretty good player base right now that's already getting in, but right now we're basically just using a drone and then cameras for video feeds in the field.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, I went to an event at Panthera, and they were utilizing a similar thing. It's called Dragon Force, right? Same, but different. And you could tell immediately how the flow of the event was much better, because you can tell. I mean, I produce games, you produce games, whatever. So you know that like your team's commander is talking. Your team staff is talking to the other team's staff, because that's how it has to be. And you could tell that they were like maneuvering around to create situations for people. And it was seamless. So if you had never produced a game or this was your first game, you would never know. You're like, oh, we're in a good fight right now. And then they would maneuver you around and you're like, oh, we made it, or we didn't, or, oh, there's another unit here, or whatever. Like it was cool because they could pull people in and pull people back. Just by using this device, and they could actually like draw on there with little arrows and whatnot. It was really cool, and it made the flow of the event so much better because they knew where everybody was at. Now, when you incorporate, you said you kind of open it up to the players as well. Is it just squad leaders that you guys are allowing to go on there, or is it like every swinging dick?
I want everybody to have
everybody.
I almost bought an ATAC for the one happening in June.
They have Arsenal, yeah. They have a standalone unit?
It's a standalone unit. It comes with the Juggernaut case, and it's basically just an Android phone.
Yeah, it's an extra battery bank. It's full thing.
It's like $200 something.
Right? Yeah, 2 something, I believe.
I was close to I was close to getting it. But
I might actually get one.
Yeah, they seem really neat.
Yeah, so what I really want to incorporate with this is, obviously every player is going to have it. Yeah. And then you can have basically your squads. And then you can pick where your squad is all that you see as your squad. Yeah. Okay. And then your command.
So you can filter it.
Yeah. Filter everything. Yeah, okay. And then that way, command can see every one of their platoons, every one of their squads. And then if they only want to connect to one platoon, you can actually click on there and say, I only want to talk to this platoon leader, and send him a direct message. And it pulls up on his phone.
Are you using like 4G or 5G? Like what if the AO doesn't have good reception?
That's
Starlink.
That's another potential that we're working on. We're also thinking potentially doing a wireless signal across the AO.
Yeah. That's what we used radios for. We basically used them to produce that signal. Yeah. But the thing is, you had to have retrans stations if you wanted to cover a whole AO. Yeah. There's a lot of money that goes into doing that, like the way that we did it.
Yeah.
Well, I went to an event with the Starlink. That's a Tesla thing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I went to an event where they had the Starlink at. It worked very well. But when I was talking to them after the game, they're like, we're having issues using it because Starlink doesn't like you moving around. They want you to be like, they want you to set up on your house. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, what about people with mobile homes? Like this is perfect for people with mobile homes. Like how can they? So last I heard they were having issues with it because I don't know. I guess you have to register a location. Yeah. And then if you move that location, it gets all wonky or whatever. But the Starlink worked pretty well.
That's
it's a cool prop too. It's like a satellite looking up. And
yeah. I cheat a little bit too with my cell reception because I'm on FirstNet. Yeah. So the first responder network. Yeah. So I have service almost everywhere.
Oh, right on.
And then everybody's like, my phone doesn't work. I'm like, here. So, but that's one of the things that we've talked about a lot because we do have a couple of AOs that you get zero service or very little, and certain groups don't work. Sometimes Verizon works great. Yeah. AT&T, you've got nothing. And then AT&T's great, and Verizon and T-Mobile and everybody else is like, we don't have even a single bar.
So for Arsenal, have you guys looked into that yet?
So while I was up there, I had both my phones. Well, I've got another job too. So I had
Sure.
my work phone, which is Verizon, and
Okay.
I had great service there. It's close enough that in a good spot that you'll have great service there.
I'm thinking about buying that standalone unit.
So I'm looking at it right now. You guys are using Gotak for
Yes.
Yeah. So they have their standalone EUD. It's $349.99.
Oof.
They've got a new one.
Yeah, so that's the light. They have the Pro. The Pro is $999.
$999?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the EUD light is 64 gigabytes of internal memory, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 8,000 mAh battery, 16 megapixel camera. It's waterproof to IP68. Works with gloves, 1.5 meter drop proof, 4.45 inch HD screen, GPS, Wi-Fi, LTE programmable. Works on T-Mobile and Verizon. So for you guys with iPhones, this would work just because you would have to integrate it into your cell plan to get, 4G for an AO like MUTC, because you're still going to need to have a way to link
You
to
need a
their
cell signal.
Yeah, you still need to have a way to link to their server. So this is going to have to be added on your phone bill. Now, for someone like me, where I already have ATAC on my phone, you don't really need this. You can just download ATAC.
It's probably cheaper just to buy a freaking.
Well, this is
Android
basically an Android phone. That's what
it
this is.
Yeah.
It is an Android phone, but it's got the big battery bank.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's an 8,000 mAh battery.
Yeah.
So for if you remember when I built my ATAC setup for MSW, I would have my phone in my case on my plate carrier, but then I'd have a wire running to it that went to a 12,000 milliamp battery bank. So my phone was plugged in the entire time.
And what's the $350 one?
That's the one I was just talking about.
Yeah.
They have a $999 one, which is this on steroids.
Anthony, you should get the $999 one.
But you also, from the looks of it on their website, you still have to pay $15 per person to access the ATAC server for the event, because they're selling server access on their website for $15.
Is that a monthly?
Well, no, this is just for MUTC in June.
Yeah,
it's $15
so
to access the server.
Oh, this is through AMS.
I think you should get.
Well,
the
this is through
$1,000 one.
Gotak, which you guys partnered with.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I think you should get the $1,000 one, and then we should all get the $350 ones, so
I
that
don't
we can
know.
all be connected.
I can justify $250 to $300. I don't know if I can justify $900 for.
Yeah, this is $349 flat.
I'll have to sell some airsoft guns of my own that I'm a hoarder. I have a problem.
We all are. Do you collect airsoft guns like you collect real rifles? You got that sickness? We're all in that boat.
What's your favorite airsoft gun?
Ooh,
What's your holy grail? Like even if it's not I don't mean in terms like you'll field it, not your go-to usable gun, but what's your favorite gun that you cannot ever get rid of?
Probably my 416C.
it's a gas blowback.
It is not.
Ooh,
It's the VFC 416C.
No,
With
that's a
that
good
tanker
gun.
Stock.
Mm-hmm.
Those are super discontinued, and
Mhm.
they're super nice. JoJo has one, and he considered getting rid of it at one point, and I yelled at him. I was
Yeah.
like, "Motherfucker!" I was like, "Don't get rid of this gun. This is that's a good one."
Yeah, I've actually never used it. It just sits on my wall.
Is it stock or did Fatco build it?
No, it's stock.
That's awesome.
Yeah, never used it, never touched it, never done anything.
It's like a collector piece. It's got the little rail and it's got the gas tube.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it's a good one.
Man.
all right. Moving on. Number 4, 6 hours in. What are some of the most memorable or standout moments from a past American Milsim event? And that can be on both sides, player or
Ooh.
producer.
Yeah. So, producer, I'm gonna have to say, and I'll be a little biased. It was the first ever direct action mission that I put on.
What did that entail? What was the mission?
So the mission was a hostage rescue and HVT kill capture.
Okay.
This was in Playa's training facility at
In New Mexico.
at one of their other facilities that's not actually on the AO.
Oh, right on.
So to get there, we had 3 vehicles, all blacked out. All drivers were using nods. All players were using nods. We go to this mount facility out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And out there's no lights. And it's pitch black anyway.
Yeah.
So when you black out everything, it's crazy. On the way to the mount facility, we took a IED strike.
Oh, nice.
So we had to stop the vehicles.
What'd you guys use for the ID?
Luckily, with Plas Training Facility, we actually have a true EOD tech.
Oh. So was it pyrotechnic or was it like an IED simulator?
100% IED pyrotechnic simulator.
Oh, shit.
It didn't quite go off as planned.
Oh, fuck.
So the vehicle in front of me stopped. I went to open the door, and I was the last vehicle. I'm from me to you when that IED goes off.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Did you get your bell runged?
Just a touch.
Yeah.
But the funny part was, like, everybody in the vehicle bailed out.
Yeah.
Like, they thought this was part of the mission, and like they're ready to go. They're so amped up.
You know,
And
it's
it was
good
just-
Milsim when you get real PTSD.
Yeah, right.
Not service related.
Yeah. So, by the time we actually made it to the mount facility, like, everybody's just so amped, they don't know what to do now.
Yeah.
And they're all standing around, and then all of a sudden, just tracer rounds coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So that one was probably one of my most memorable ones for staff owner style.
I think that's a cool concept, right? So, like, yes, the main body of the game is happening here, but these damn missions are happening offsite. And I had a long time ago, I had an idea because we work with a helicopter company that's local, and I was like, man, this would be so cool if you paid a little extra. This is your little side mission, maybe 6 dudes, whatever, right? The helicopters, and I want to say 6 dudes because the helicopters are like Robinson R-22s, they're little tiny go-karts in the air, right? They land like on the AstroTurf at Zulu, right? Dudes get in and fly to a completely different property, right? So in their heads, they're like, oh yeah, we're just going to land at Zulu or whatever. But then they go to a completely different property and get dropped off in a field. Hey, you need to land, navigate north. There's a terrorist camp over
That's
there.
like a DLC pack
right?
in the game.
It is, right?
There's
And
different enemies and weapons.
yeah, right. It's like totally complete. It's not even the guys, not even the faction you were fighting.
Yeah.
Like, it's just this, hey, since you're in the area, like, let's go take out these bad guys.
You get
And
wrapped
then they-
up in their quest.
Yeah, right. So then a little side quest.
Yeah.
So then they do whatever it is, actions on objective, and now they got to call the helicopters back in, pop smoke, the whole 9 yards. I was like, just from a player standpoint, that'd be so freaking cool.
Yeah.
The only thing kind of immersively breaking is the fact that it's a Robinson R-22 and not a Blackhawk coming in.
Yeah.
I just don't have that ability
right.
with a freaking Blackhawk. But
It's like, think of it like Tom Clancy, like Ghost Recon Wildlands or something, and you just didn't level up to get, the
That's
military helicopter yet. You're just
Yeah.
using the little bird, whatever.
Yeah.
oh, you're stumbling right into armor
Oh, yeah.
territory, and I don't want to talk about armor.
Yeah, I think
Do you game?
I do not.
You're missing out.
Your wildest dreams can be imagined in Arma 3.
Oh man,
You really glossed over the whole fake ID going off in your
Oh, yeah,
face.
yeah,
What
yeah.
happened? Like, was it like Call of Duty where your ears were ringing? You're like, oh, and then you hear like, Cody, get up, we gotta go. They're shooting at us.
No, not really.
Oh.
It was not quite that good.
No.
I was blinded,
Yeah,
couldn't
but-
see anything. I ran into the truck, trying to figure out where I'm at. And then I start seeing like everybody out of the vehicle, and they're screaming like, "I don't see anybody. There's no contact." And I'm like, "Get your asses back in the truck."
Yeah,
And they're
right.
like, "Are you good to drive?"
yeah, good.
We're gonna
good.
find out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm good.
yeah. So
As he walks into the side of the truck. Yeah, I'm good. I am. I mean, yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's freaking amazing, dude.
yeah.
But yeah, man, driving blacked out into a town that's completely black.
Are we
You
gonna
know what I
see anything like that at Panthera?
At where?
MUTC.
MUTC.
Yeah,
We-
Panthera's they got MUTC. Yeah.
Yeah, there is a dam going on, the direct action mission at
Yeah.
that one. Blake, the actual original founder of American Milsim, Frosty.
Oh, there's a name I haven't heard yet.
Frosty, yeah, he's the original.
He's the OG, huh?
Yep. He's actually come back help us out with the dams.
Yeah.
Because he used to be the one that always put the dams on.
Yeah.
And then he stepped away for a while for work. And then that's when I took over.
Right on.
And then luckily he's back to help us out. But there is dam that event. I'm hoping. And
can you talk about it? Is it like?
Well, the fun part is most of us have Op4 tickets for the damn mission.
Yeah.
Do we?
All of our boys got them. I just got to talk to Bo about you and I.
Oh, shit. Apparently I'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one thing I can't actually say, but
no, go into specific detail, timelines. I want everything.
Hoping to bring a special guest in to help me do some stuff.
Oh, right on. What's that special guest's name? Come on, you're gonna trip up.
We can bleep it.
We're gonna get you.
Can it be Grand Thumb?
Papa Thumb?
Papa Thumb. Well, if it's Travis Haley, then it's Grandfather Thumb.
This is
Grandpa Thumb. Grandpa Flannel.
This is somebody with a little different expertise.
Like I said, we can bleep it.
Is it Steven Seagal?
Oh my God!
Bro,
Yeah,
that'd be amazing. He's got different expertise.
A boom mic.
He's not famous. I'll put it that way.
Oh man.
Well, he's famous with the CAG world.
Oh,
Don Shipley? No.
no, not Don Shipley.
Who's the other guy? Who's the guy with the handlebar mustache? Mario chased him down and shot him like a dog. Dale Comstock. Is
No.
it Comstock?
No, I wish.
Oh darn.
That would be
Coming in through the top window with an MP5. Yeah, no.
Mario chased him down. Shot him like a dog. Well, that's cool, man. So you got a special guest there. We'll talk about it off air, I guess. We'll pry it out of you.
Yeah. I mean, give me a couple hours. It probably won't be too bad.
Yeah, right.
It'll be fine.
Oh man, well that sounds awesome. I like the damn mission. I like that there's like Anthony said, like a DLC. Like you pay for the, I don't even want to call it the main body of the event, but there's also the option to like go out and do your little Special Forces Navy SEAL thing because really that's what Airsoft breaks down to, right?
Yeah.
Like from a player perspective, like what makes a good op? Well, you had your Navy SEAL moment. You know what I mean? Or I always call it that. I'm sure I'll get flamed in the comments.
No, but it's true because how much fun do you want to have? And I understand that everyone's buying the initial ticket to the game and that gets you the normal amount of effort and all the fun that comes along with that game. But if you want to do something a little more fun and a little more special, you can do a little extra money down and they can give you a tailored, really cool experience that is exactly what you're looking for in terms of that cool guy moment. Everybody's chasing the dragon of having that super awesome highlight moment. The damn missions give you the option.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. All right. Number 5. Oh, we may have already gone over this. Could you walk us through the process of organizing a Milsim event? What are the key considerations and challenges involved?
So we did go through a little bit of like the op words in a game style.
Yeah.
For me too, it's the logistical side of it that's
Sure.
really big, especially coming out here
Yeah.
from Oklahoma.
Right.
And trying to get stuff out here. Luckily, didn't run into what we had last year.
No. So, yeah.
Which we kind of actually did.
Well, so I just took delivery of your pallets. You had like 3 pallets that came. And the driver, when he called me, I was like, hey, man, please tell me you've got a lift gate on the truck. He said, oh, yeah. So we had a lift gate. It was smooth sailing this time. I think it was last year. The guy came in a box truck, no lift gate. And you got these 3 pallets. So we're like,
no, it's worse than that. They only dropped off 1 pallet. We had to drive back to Jersey.
Yeah,
to get them
that's
with the trailer,
right.
remember?
I forgot about
Remember putting the trailer on the truck and them sending it being like, hopefully we're back before the sun goes down.
Yeah. Holy shit. I remember.
Funny story.
And then they sent the pyro to Mario's shop. Remember that when Enola Gay sent everything to Mario's shop?
Yeah.
Can confirm the pyro got delivered to my house. Don't worry, all your stuff's there.
There you go.
So funny story. Last year, you guys didn't get like your dead rags. So Bo went to AutoZone to get red rags. My dad was working at that AutoZone at the
nice.
time. And Bo was like explaining to him like, yeah, we need red rags for like Airsoft. My dad's like, oh, I know what that is. My son works over there. So
Yeah.
AutoZone has done more for Airsoft than Advanced Auto Parts. Almost.
Ooh,
Shots
there's a good
fired.
plug.
There's a good plug.
Yeah.
We almost had that exact same fiasco happen this year. I don't know if Bo filled you in on that. He called me and was like, yeah, the sponsor said that the dead rags were delivered 2 weeks ago. I'm like, I haven't gotten a single box yet. Then magically, all of a sudden, like 2 days later, I just get 3 giant cases of dead rags on my door. I'm like, well, they're here, but they were wrong about the time.
Yeah. No, so yeah, the logistics side of it, this year we actually ran into a little bit of problem too.
Really?
They were supposed to come pick it up Tuesday
Yeah.
because it's 6 days standard freight delivery.
That's all ground? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, man.
So Tuesday they didn't show up. Wednesday they didn't show up. Thursday they're like, yeah, we'll be there at 4:45 p.m. I'm like, I need this stuff here Wednesday. They're like, no, it's not going to get there till Friday by like 5 or 6 p.m. I'm like, yeah, that ain't going to work.
Yeah.
So this is Thursday. It's
Oof.
like, yeah, we're going to have to do something different.
Yeah.
Luckily, we got it ironed out. But
Did you use a different company? Because I know FedEx Freight is the one that delivered it.
so it's technically through Estes,
Okay.
and a contractor that is owned by Estes
Okay.
was the one that actually got everything done, because
right.
they can use whoever they want,
Yeah.
where Estes has to do Estes. So
Yeah.
they ended up using FedEx Freight.
Hey, worked out.
Yeah.
All your stuff.
And they didn't come with a lift gate, so I had to run down to the hardware store and steal their forklift and
Oh,
load
to
everything
pick it up?
yes.
Oh, man. I think it was last year the guys showed up. These two small statured gentlemen showed up, and I was like, hey, where's the lift gate? And they were like, hey, where's the loading dock? And I was like, we ain't got either of those.
Right. Yeah.
So we had to like back the truck up to a spot where there was a hill, and then I just had some like 2x8s or
Well,
2x10s.
that was the first year we were
Was that the
here.
first year?
Yeah.
And so we put the 2x10s up there to make like a quasi ramp, and then like one of your pallets got on, and those 2x10s started bowing. I was like, please don't break, please don't break. Like, oh my God. But we got them off.
OSHA would be very happy with us.
Oh no,
Yeah.
it got done because OSHA wasn't there.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah. So, trying to load up our trailer, which, we have a pretty good size 40-foot
Yeah.
gooseneck trailer, loading that, driving, all the way across the country, basically to all of our events. It's a pretty big undertaking, because we got to get there early to set up and do everything. So, and shout out to like our guys, our staff guys that are out at the field right now.
Right now, setting
Working.
Up.
Well,
It's all right. You're working too. It's
Yeah,
all right.
we're
I
sitting
can
here
see him
having
on the
fun.
security cameras. They already got the tent up.
Yeah. Nice. See, I'm sitting here.
This is
having fun,
great.
right?
You're gonna walk in and be like, "Good job, guys!
Right.
Buy you some
Yeah,
dinner."
The stuff a lot of people, they may not think about, the setup and the prep
Yeah, man.
for before the game, and then us having to tear everything back down, load it in just a few hours,
Like in
to
a
get,
timeline. Yeah.
to get out by Sunday evening to drive back home to Oklahoma, or luckily here we get to ship it, so we all get to fly. It's a little easier, but so yeah, there's a lot of work going into setting up these bigger games in areas that you don't have really a structure or infrastructure. That is pretty daunting from time to time.
So yeah, logistics is pretty challenging. I agree with that. That was a terrible segue. That was.
Yeah,
That was pretty bad. Let's keep it in though. I like it.
It's okay.
Yeah, that
It
was.
gets better.
So how about those logistics? Oh, that's pretty good. All right. Oh, number 6. Here we go. How do you ensure that safety is a top priority at your events while still providing an immersive and realistic experience?
Wow.
yeah, safety is a big thing.
Especially when you're setting off IEDs, right?
Yeah. So the first thing that we always do is, we have a certified paramedic or EMT.
Yeah.
All of our events. I have quite a bit of training, but I'm not certified. So
Gotcha.
certain things I can't do.
Sure.
I consider myself more of a combat medic. I
Okay.
might save your life, but you won't look good afterwards. So,
Why'd he put gummy bears in the wound? Right?
Yeah.
Stop the bleeding.
and making sure everybody has, a medical card on them.
Yeah.
Because if you've got, a known allergy or, an issue, you got to know that.
Sure.
When you're going through that. We also, during setup and everything, anything that's potentially hazardous, we try to barricade or tape off and try to not let anybody around those areas. So there's a lot of detail that goes into that.
Sure.
What do you consider safe or not safe? But when you have 400 people running around,
shooting guns at each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's a certain level of risk that's just
Right,
always
yeah.
going to be present. But there's like proactive things you can do, like you said, roping off areas, and then there's just reactive things because life happens.
That's why we have to carry 2 ace bandages.
God.
You never know.
Oh God. And tourniquets. No. All right, number 7. In your opinion, what is the most important elements for fostering teamwork, camaraderie among participants at Milsim events? That's a hell of a question.
Say nothing and point.
Yeah, that's how you do it. Send them to their deaths, and then you take all the glory.
yes, 100%.
You're like a Russian general.
Yeah. Well, to me, it'd have to be communication.
Sure.
Always starts at the top. If you communicate with your team, your leadership, all the way down to first time guy,
Yeah.
let them know what they're walking into
Yeah.
and say, hey, this is, and that's why we do the op boards too. So we send that out to everybody and everybody gets it. That way they know kind of the whole plan for
Yeah.
the weekend. And then the command staff tries to communicate with their emails and letters to everybody. But that communication is got to be key.
So after you guys send out the op board, right? Is it more player driven after that? So you guys send it out, basically the commander's intent, and then you guys' leadership starts up the communication with their squads and their squad leaders. You know what I mean? So it's not like a member of staff is like hanging over them, making sure that they're communicating, or how does it
No.
work?
So it's I will send out the op boards to both command staff.
Yeah.
So they one team gets one op board, one team gets a different op board.
Sure.
And after that, they have to add to the op board on how they want to maneuver, how they want to do everything. And then they start communicating that to their platoon leaders. Their platoon leaders then have meetings
Okay.
with their squads.
And these are
Then-
players, like
yes,
the
all
platoon
players.
leaders are players. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's gotta be freaking tough, man.
Sometimes it's very tough.
Yeah.
And in different areas that you haven't been to very often,
Yeah.
when you have some, especially new player base, it's real rough.
Yeah.
But certain areas, they love doing that,
Yeah.
and it's easier than others. But you still get a lot of people too emails, especially when you see attachments and your email's 500 lines long. And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not reading that.
Yeah.
So,
What's the worst thing a platoon leader can do? What's like the worst trait or quality?
go MIA.
Yeah. Other than that, because that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
I always tell, when we do our small little games or whatever, I always tell everybody the same thing. I was like, the team that's going to win is the team that stays on the field.
Yes.
And that includes, and this, man, like for medics, right? Like we don't do anything crazy for medics, but there are assigned medics, dude. And like me as a producer, I can walk on and off the field. It's not a big deal. Then you go down to the staging area and you look around and you're like, these guys are this is all TAN team's medics right here, sitting down eating lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, get up on the field, man. Jesus,
Yeah.
you're important. But
Yeah. So I guess besides going MIA, the one of the worst things you could probably do is either worry about yourself and not your team,
yeah,
and you try to have fun and you don't worry about anybody else. You're a leader at that point. You're leading other leaders as well. You got your squad leaders that are leading your squads,
yeah,
and your platoon leader has everybody underneath him or her. So being selfish and I'm going to go have fun, and I've got a couple guys with me that are my guys, and not worrying about the rest of your platoon.
So then when you register for an AMS event, do you choose like, hey, I want to be in a leadership role?
You can say that. Absolutely.
So you got guys who are like, yeah, I want to be a leader, and then just F off and like do their own thing.
Yeah. And luckily, we've been doing this long enough that our command, they've got known platoon leaders that have been doing it for a while and then love doing it and that are good at it.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and also, and that's one of the reasons we really like the locals. You go to a new field or a local area that's already got basically the player base.
Yeah.
And you can start finding some new leadership.
Yeah.
And start grooming those guys too. So it's definitely a challenge at some points, but luckily we've been pretty blessed with that. So
Good. All right. What was that? 7? No. I'm not going to do 8. What role is the communication plan success? That's pretty clear. I mean, you guys using the ATAX? Is it ATAX?
Gotak.
What's
Gotak?
a PL without a radio?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He's just a dude. Number 9, can you share any insights into the evolution of American Milsim since its establishment? What changes or improvements have been made over the years?
Yeah, you guys have changed a lot of rules, like DMR rules, like your medic rules have changed too.
Yeah, even from allowing full auto to semi-auto with rifles. We used to be full auto.
I feel like you can do full auto if you limit the ammo, but if you're not limiting ammo, then semi's the way to go.
Yeah.
Now, you guys still limit the ammo per player in a different way, because we go to a lot of Milsim West games and they limit it by issuing ammo at 500 rounds per player. You guys have a magazine amount rule, right? Where you can't carry more than 8 magazines on your player, and you're not allowed to load. 7, and you're not allowed to load them unless you're in your fob.
That's correct.
Yeah, so that adds another dynamic that, while Milsim West doesn't have that, it's similar in that regard, because you can't just be out there with a speed loader in the middle of the game loading your mags. You have to go back to be able to load those.
I think it's a necessary evil in an airsoft game to ensure that you as a player cannot sit in the same spot and have a massive firefight for 8 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, if you conserve your ammo, fine. That like that should always be in the back of your head. How many mags do I have left? And then the squad leader needs to be like, hey, how much ammo does everybody have? Can we sit here? Do we need to be reinforced? Like, it adds a whole nother layer to the decision making that needs to happen. And I think it's a good thing, man.
Now, from a producer standpoint, how hard is it enforcing that rule?
A new rule is pretty difficult because you get your especially your veterans that have been doing it so long, and now you implement a new rule, and it's like, when did that go into effect?
Yeah.
The older the rule gets, it's usually fairly easy. New player base, we push just to read our rule sets. We're gonna actually
good luck.
Good luck.
Well, one of the things that we're fixed to start doing is videos. So instead of reading, listen.
I'm telling you. So many years ago, I did an event, and it wasn't like a standard event, and I was going to write everything out, and then I was like, nah. We discovered a couple years ago that a player will sit down and watch a 2-minute video. They will not read 2 paragraphs.
Yeah. Well,
so I think that's the right move. I think shorts are...
Our old rule set was like 8 or 10 pages.
Yeah, right.
I mean, to be fair, I'm on your website. Your rule set's pretty lengthy to begin with.
Well,
but
I think
it has to be
way more than that too.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah. And that's why, instead of trying to read through the lengthy, wordy stuff, here's a video.
Yeah.
What was the thinking behind the whole war crime thing?
So Airsoft is a game of trust.
Sure.
Like, granted, if you shoot them enough or you're close enough, they're eventually going to call it, but it's a game of trust. So when somebody's doing something just blatantly breaking the rules, or just derogatory, something crazy, or a whole team is doing that, or a group of a team, start doing something that actually takes away from the entire team.
Yeah.
That way, if 1 or 2 guys are doing something kind of shady, their teammates are going to be like, hey, that's going to cost our entire team points if you keep doing that stuff. So it's getting other people to help monitor a situation.
Yeah, so you can kind of police your own. I know they do stuff like that, and I hate to bring it up, but like in Speedsoft, right? And
the 2-for-1.
Think what you will, right? But if somebody's caught not calling your hits, now in Speedsoft they have like refs every 10 feet, like they're monitoring everything. But if somebody doesn't call their hit, like, and a ref catches it, it's like that person's out, and then they take 2 more. So it like super affects it. So everybody, so believe it or not, my personal opinion here, like hit calling issues in Speedsoft is probably way less because of that same dynamic that you guys are using, right? So don't mess around, because you're going to affect not just yourself. Well, A, you're a shithead for doing it. B, you're affecting everybody on the team. So I like that punishment.
That also came from paintball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
What has to happen, like that line of communication between a player doing something that's considered a war crime and then it being brought to like admin's attention and and being like dealt with
Like does the admin
like-
have to witness it?
like if
or-
somebody is so mad, he's not calling his fucking hits, and he's just so mad. Like obviously that can't be enough. Like with us, we have to be like, well, we have to like kind of see it.
Yeah.
We'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah.
And with that, do you guys have refs out on the field that aren't like in a cell? Like they're actually uniformed refs monitoring the game. Do you have that?
Yeah, we have true admins. And that's another thing we've been working on. We tried to do less at the time red shirt admins
Yeah.
that stand around and just being a ref.
Yeah.
We started implementing an in-game admin. So people that we have that are basically an admin, but they're still playing. You don't know who they are,
Yeah.
unless you see their patch or their ID or something. So then we got away from, the more admin side and only have like one or two out there trying that. We found out that's not really the best case either.
Sure.
So we're bringing back more regular admins and increasing the in-game admins because we think that's good too.
So you're doing both.
Yes, still going to do both.
Yeah.
Just going to up the number of those.
Yeah.
And it seems like, when you see a ref or a red shirt running around,
People get real honest.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we really don't want to deter the players either. That's why
Yeah.
we still want to keep the in-game admin out there because they're only there really to police only their side
Yeah.
or to help in a situation if somebody's just so heated that they can't function anymore.
And
So-
your admins are like that are in the game. They're also in like leadership roles too. They might be like a squad leader or a PL or something. So
or
like-
staff too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have some of our staff guys that actually play all weekend. So obviously they're going to be one, but yeah, they're more leadership roles that are been to, you have to go through a safety brief just for being an admin, and do stuff like that. But war crimes, we don't want to issue any war crimes ever. To actually get a war crime, it's blatant cheating. Something like, we have flags that have each faction's actual flags on them
Yeah.
that you have to change. We've had people put them in knots,
Ah.
zip tie them up where you can't just run up there and change them real quick.
Yeah, I've
Stuff
seen
like that.
we
Like,
don't do flags anymore.
Yeah, we don't do flags anymore.
or, you see another team's prop and you just take it and go move it somewhere else.
So
Or
that-
take it back to your fob and be like, well, they can't get points for it.
that
We're not getting them, but they can't get them. So
ruins a game.
yeah, stuff like that
Yeah.
is
I also remember like destruction of property for the AO was under that too, because like GTI, if you shot a light bulb out, you guys consider it a war crime.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, especially places that's got windows and you sit there and you bust out a window just so you can put your barrel out instead of opening a door.
That's got to be a big concern for MUTC coming up next month.
Yes. Which we've dealt with this for the last 7 years at Copperhead, New Mexico. There's 250 houses out there. All
Yeah.
of them have windows. So we preach that real heavy in the briefings. So
You guys ever had any issues with that? Like,
we've had
Yeah.
a couple of them. Yeah.
how do the training areas or the training sites, how do they handle that? Like, I imagine this is how it works in my head, right? You do an event there, somebody breaks a window, you guys are paying for it. Is that how it works?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yep.
That's a lot of trust between producer and player there as well.
It is. And
If
Yeah.
like a player does that, you ever like, has that ever happened? Has a player like actually destroyed property and you guys had to pay for that? And like,
right in front of Bo one time.
and
smart.
is there ever
Very smart.
talk with the player like, hey, like what you did was blatantly destruction of property. Like we're gonna have to pay for that. Like, come on, you broke it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Oh, trying to get them to pay for it?
100%.
I mean, I think they're responsible, but
Yeah.
Well, we've never actually made somebody pay for something, but we haven't had anybody do anything super drastic where it's
Yeah.
like at, say, like Guardian Center, the window there, they're like 30 grand. 'cause
Or
they're
the light
double pane
pole.
huge.
Oh, those windows.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Something like that. Luckily, we've never had anything like that.
Yeah,
That might be a whole different conversation.
sure.
with staff and these big AOs, I keep coming back to it, but like we talked about how you guys have player staff and you have actual admin red shirt staff. Going into a game as large as what you're doing next month at Arsenal with that big of a player count, how much staff are you guys looking to have for that?
More than we'll probably have. To be honest with you,
What
we
you want,
probably
what you
need-
got, or
Do
two
more
different
with
things.
less?
Yeah.
We probably need more. And it's still a very big topic between Bo and myself right now is how many do we really need?
Yeah.
That's going to be a big game.
Yeah, it's going to be the biggest one we've ever had.
It's a big AO though. I think
It is a big place.
But that's
Yeah.
the thing, because like we see it all the time at Zulu, like as the numbers start to bump up and then we start to question, do we have enough staff on the field? Do we need more staff on the field?
Yeah.
And how do we properly space out our staff on the field to make sure we're covering everything at one time? That starts to come into question as numbers go up, even on a smaller scale.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at MUTC where they have a giant complex.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of players running around. That's a lot of things moving at one time, which
And
is why staff becomes such a key thing.
How many players again was that?
a little over 1,000.
So for me, insurance requirement, right? For me, it's I need one member of staff for every 25 players. So we have 4 uniforms ref plus me. That's good for what? 125. And then I have
On an average day, you have 4 to 10 staff members that are there
that
to
are
play.
playing and everything. But and of course I'm not maybe one day I'm not getting 1,000 players out there. Shit's nuts.
That's a lot for Zulu.
No, but stuff like that also comes into play when we're talking about Benghazi, the event we're running in West Virginia in
Yeah.
August. You're going to have 250 Op4 players on one faction. Now we have to take the majority of the Zulu staff and put them onto Op4 because
Yeah.
you have so many people there that to keep that 1 to 25 ratio, going to need a bunch.
Well, and for Benghazi in particular, I think we have 12 or 13 staff from the Zulu side of the house on Op4, and then Grimnir's got staff as well.
Yeah.
We're good on staff for that event.
But that's the same kind of question that comes
Yeah.
into play because in this regard, talking about how much staff you're going to need for an event where you guys are running with 1,000 people, that's a lot of dudes.
it's a lot of space.
That's a lot of
Mhm.
space to cover with staff members.
but I'm sure you'll be okay. And you guys heard it here. If you break a window, AMS has to pay for it. So
Be polite.
Oh my.
Don't ruin MUTC. The Airsoft community just got that back. Do not ruin it for us.
Yeah,
right?
you know what?
Oh,
Like
man.
sometimes there's a good AO or a good opportunity to do something really cool in Airsoft, things that you would only dream of when you were a kid first getting into it, you
like
know?
breaking a window.
Yeah, and then there will be a rule that's very important, like don't take pictures or videos
Oh,
and
man.
don't share them. And then there's one guy. One guy always has to be the one to take the picture and post it anyway. And they'll know that this is the condition for having the AO.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll never get it again.
So I ran a couple games at West Point, and
Well, we could talk about it now, Anthony.
we can talk
Stop
about it
shaking
now.
your head.
Yeah, we can talk about it now.
But why? Why do people do that?
I don't know why people do that, but we got a training area at West Point that it's pretty neat.
It's cool.
It's got some building stuff. It's pretty neat. And like the stipulation, it was a nightmare to promote for. Couldn't say West Point, couldn't say cadet, couldn't say military academy. You know, so I'm just like, hey,
We're doing this thing, and it's really cool. And if you register, after you register, we can tell you more.
yeah, like, hey, it's $50 to come play at this place that I can't tell you, and it's got cool things that I can't tell you. But as soon as you give me your money, then I can send you an email that tells you. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
people are like, how can I even plan for this event? I don't even know where it's at.
It's
Right,
like
yeah.
signing an NDA to play Airsoft.
Yeah, is it an hour away? Is it 6 hours away? I don't know. And I'm just like, oh,
It's like
right
an
around the
Airsoft
corner.
CIA mission.
But the players figured it out pretty quickly. But part of that whole registration process, it was like, I agree to not take photos, videos, or post anything of the event.
Yeah.
And Monday morning,
Yep.
I log on to the Zulu 24 Instagram and I see tagged by this person. And I'm like, I know that AO. And then they even geo-tagged it as West Point Military
Yeah.
Academy. And I'm like, you stupid fuck.
Yep. And what's funny is this particular player, I looked at him and I was like, do not like him specifically. I was like, do not take any photos or videos. And then at the end of the game, I was like, don't post whatever you took. I know you took pictures because you're a scumbag. Like, we might need to bleep that out, but
No, I think we're
No,
fine.
I don't.
But-
I
oh yeah, I think we're fine.
I think we're
It's
fine.
So
common
I looked at that player and I was like, don't post whatever pictures and shit you took. And he just laughed and like, I wouldn't do that to you literally the next morning.
Hmm.
What a
And I'm sending screenshots to Dave going, do you want to handle it or do you want me to handle it?
what a piece of shit.
And I had messaged him too when I saw it, and I was like,
Oh, don't be fooled. Our community
Yeah.
very much went at him over that and was like, you are going to be the reason this never happens again. And it got taken down, but it's like, Dave told you more than twice, on top of the rest of the community telling you don't do that. And it was specifically in the op board, don't fucking do it. And you do it anyway.
That's all right. He got
there's no, like,
he was ostracized anyway. So.
Oh, that's another off-air discussion.
Yeah, but yeah, so break windows at MUTC, you won't have to pay for it. It's just AMS.
And you'll ruin the AO for the rest of the community.
forever.
Well, you may have to deal with me afterwards.
he's just going to stare at you.
I would.
He's
pay
not
to
going to
watch
say
that.
anything. He's just going to stare at you.
I'm gonna have
intently.
pallets of bricks delivered to you. I'll just put Soros on them. We're all dead tomorrow morning.
The power goes out again.
Yeah.
Okay, don't do that.
Our
Don't
social
ruin-
credit has dropped too low.
Oh, right. Let's move on here. That's a dumb question. What advice would you give to individuals who are interested in attending their first Milsim event? What should they expect, and how can they best prepare?
So to me, the local game is probably the best way to get into a Milsim style event. And then honestly, just jumping right in.
Yeah, you think just right into the deep end?
I figure if you got the gear
Yeah.
and you played some local stuff before, just jump right in.
So basic gear loadout. What would you recommend?
Obviously, make sure you have the proper camo for what side you're going on.
Sure.
Chest rig. If you rather wear a plate carrier, do it. But your first couple ones, I say go chest rig.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to get used to the length of them and the style of game that is being ran, and then just a standard, say 416 or some style AR.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even honestly say you need a pistol for your first couple.
I don't actually think I have a pistol, but I don't think I've ever pulled it out once.
So
at a, like major event.
every year I've played at Copperhead because you're breaching a house,
Yeah.
and breaching a house with the pistol's a lot easier than with a standard barrel
Sure.
rifle. And then one other time my rifle actually went down, and it was either they're going down or me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to use my pistol for once. So and that's why I say that too. I mean, you may not ever get in a situation where you ever need it. So
Yeah.
for your first couple, just rifle, your mags, chest rig, proper camo.
Good eye pro.
Now, what's your tolerance with camo? Because I know you guys have like the whole write-up online showing what faction can wear what camo. Hypothetical, the what if story. Kid shows up and it's just completely wrong camo, or he's mix matching. What's your tolerance level for that like?
And he drove for 10 hours. They always drive for 10 hours when they're in the wrong gear.
Well,
And it's their first time, and their dad's with them. They're 12.
And they're all
yeah, well, I mean, aren't most of them?
Yeah. We all are.
Right?
We all-
Yeah.
yeah,
we play
we all
BBLs. We all are.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. Oh, man.
Like, would you let the kid play, or like how would that work? Or you send him over to AMP to be like, I don't know, do your best. Or
So what we state every single time,
Yeah.
you cannot wear this. Do you have anything else?
sure.
And they always come back with no. This is all I
There's a
own.
Walmart right down the road.
That is, it's either check out Amped or the local stores. Go to Walmart, buy khakis or green pants. They sell them all day long. Carhartt, anything, and a t-shirt. We sell t-shirts of our faction colors.
Yeah.
That's got to come in clutch because I'm reading the uniform requirements, and you're okay with just wearing a green t-shirt and green pants, or a tan t-shirt and tan pants.
Yes.
Has it come down to that before?
Oh yeah. And we've even had guys come from Canada and they didn't bring the right camo.
This is my favorite argument all day long. It's like this leap in logic. It's so amazing. And this has happened to me too at the field, at just our local field, right?
Excuse me, it's alpha green.
Oh God, I want to kick that kid in the face. So you get somebody, right? Comes from Canada, drives or flies, makes this huge travel, this huge financial investment to come down to play at your field or your game or whatever. And then they get there and you're like, you're in the wrong camo. And they're like, but I just traveled all this way and spent all this money. And I was like, yeah, you did all of that, but you didn't read the rules.
Exactly.
I'm a
It's like
very
this-
special snowflake, and you need to treat me better because I traveled so far to be here.
I
Dave.
have heard that shit so many times, dude. Oh, I traveled 2 hours to get here.
They don't even believe that. They're just trying to.
Everybody lives 2 hours away, by the way.
But they're just trying to get out of the. They're just trying to get away with it.
I know.
It's just such a.
But it's such a wild leap in logic. You're like, hey, yeah, you did all that, except you didn't read the rules, which is free and takes probably 10 minutes.
Or like when you go to buy a ticket on our site, you agree,
Yeah.
and it literally states, I'm playing for this faction.
Yeah.
These are your available camo patterns. You agree to that
No, they just
when,
click it.
when you buy that ticket. Well, but by clicking that, they agree to it.
That's why
So-
Apple and Android own us, because every time they do an
Yep.
update, they're like, do you agree to this 17-page minuscule writing
Yeah.
agreement? Yeah, sure, whatever.
Human centipede.
Yeah, the South Park episode. You hear that, everybody? Show up in the right camo. That would help 90% of the games in America, actually. Let's see, number 12. How do you see the future of Milsim events and the community evolving? Are there exciting plans or developments on the horizon for American Milsim? I think you already went over a little bit with that with the drone and the, but where do you see the community as a whole going? Like, how far are we going to take this military simulation before we start having like helicopter crashes and stuff like that? Like,
Ukraine.
oh God.
Well, I think it's going to continue to grow just because what y'all mentioned earlier, the gaming community.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the games are getting so realistic that you can customize guns.
Oh,
And then somebody's like, I can go do this for real outside and still not die
yeah.
and have fun with my friends. You know, a weekend a month or
Sure.
I think we've all said it. It's like playing
2 or 3
Call of
weekends a
Duty
year.
in real life.
yes.
Yeah.
And because of the gaming community, and we've seen it recently with the new people coming out to our events and new events that they've never been to a Milsim game before. The numbers are growing substantially.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's still growing and it's still continuing to get new players that are evolving into a new style game or something to do,
Yeah.
activity. So I think it's going to just continue to grow for a while. That being said, though, the people like us that are putting on games and trying to design games, we're going to have to evolve too.
Well, you have to start pushing that envelope, man. Like
Yeah.
that's a
The players too, I think, man. Like if everybody had an ATAC
well, sure.
and everybody knew how to use it,
Or
and,
even if,
and everybody chose to use it.
or yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, even if somebody just developed, it doesn't have to be ATAC or Dragon Force or whatever the hell, but just if somebody invented something that performs similar, right? And it was like $150 and you wore it like a watch.
So the funny thing is, on the Gotak website with the EUD that I was talking about,
They've got to watch.
they have a watch, and it's $400.
It's called the Pip Boy.
No, but similar follow-up question to that, seeing where the airsoft community is going, is there anything you wish you could do with American Milsim that you're not there to do it yet?
C-130 pair of drops.
I mean,
That'd be cool as shit.
Real IEDs.
there's a laundry list of stuff that I wish we could do.
Well, if you had to pick one off that list of something that would just put American Milsim over the top in your eyes, what's
Ghosts.
something you would want to do with it?
Did you say ghosts?
Ghost. I want my AO to be haunted.
Probably air.
Air assets? Like legit air assets where we're talking like helicopters and close air support, or just like continuing on with the drone aspect and implementing it more?
Pretty much everything. So I would like big drones that circle, that obviously aren't, the DJIs or something like
Yeah.
that. Some bigger air asset drones that
It's like the ones with like 12 rotors on it. You know what I mean?
or a Predator.
Oh, you mean big?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
See, these are
Yeah,
the
right
questions
on.
we want to know.
Right on.
That way, with that drone, you can also have munitions.
Sure.
Obviously, we're seeing it
It's
in
in
real life with
we
the
are.
GGI stuff. I mean, you're seeing how they're implementing, their rounds with a handheld drone.
You're gonna have to increase your defense budget.
Yeah.
But it's a cool aspect because imagine having the ATAC connection and the player comes in and he's just like, hey, our little DJI drone can see that there's a platoon size element across the AO and you just have a predator that can drop an airsoft tag round.
No,
That'd
it's
be cool
going to have
shit.
to be. So this is our $1 million idea right here, trademarked and registered right now for us, right? We need to invent an airsoft Hellfire missile that doesn't kill everybody.
Yes.
That's how it's
Well, right now it's like illegal to put an airsoft gun on a drone.
Actually, yeah. So the FAA has come out like that's super fucking illegal. You can't
Oh.
do that.
So how does it work with the shooting out of helicopters then?
Well,
Same
they're
thing.
specifically going after unmanned aerial drones
Yeah.
because there was a group of kids in California, I believe it was. They put an airsoft Glock on a drone, and the FAA shit itself. They had like an Elite Force Glock 18 on a drone, and after that, the FAA was like, "Absolutely not! You can't do this."
Really?
Mhm.
Even though it's under like
Yep.
1,000 feet or something?
Yep.
A lot of the companies too that make these robots are very much against that.
They are fueling the Ukrainian conflict right now.
General
They're-
Dynamics has entered the chat, boys.
Yeah.
Well, Boston Dynamics,
Raytheon.
Yeah.
ClearPath,
Stonks.
those bigger companies are very much against it. Like they're like they'll disown you.
Yeah.
They're
That's silly. It's the natural progression of warfare. I mean,
Yeah.
there's going to be
it's also the natural progression of freedom.
right. Yeah, exactly. Right. There's going to be an airplane that flies over. You see like 4 parachutes come out. These parachutes are going to land on a tripod and a 50 cal is going to come up and it's just going to be terrain denial. It's just going to sit there and shoot everything within 360 of itself. You know what I mean? Like that's the natural progression of it.
I figured they're going to drop the little mini tanks with the miniguns and stuff on.
Right.
Yeah.
Those little, the gladiator vehicles
Oh,
or whatever.
that'd be cool.
Right? Like, and they're going to be pre-programmed to go to a certain area and maybe recognize a uniform pattern and just shoot or not shoot or whatever. I mean, that's just the natural progression of things.
Yeah.
But in airsoft, that would be cool as shit,
Yeah.
right?
And with the air asset too, I would like big helicopters so we could drop off squads.
That'd
Like-
be cool. Do like an air assault infill.
Mm.
Or like fast roping on a rooftop.
For now, just get a
Um,
U-Haul
I-
and have people jump
I
out
would
of the
love
back.
to be
I've
able
done
to
that.
do
You don't want
but yeah.
I think
Can-
I think you could convince the insurance company, right? So you'd have to do some sort of qualification courses that have to be like 2 weeks minimum long, where like, hey, if you want to come to this, if you want to do this damn mission, you got to come on out and go through a 2-week fast roping course to do it, because in the damn mission, you're going to hover above a building and you're going to fast rope down onto the rooftop. And I feel like in 2 weeks, you can be fairly proficient at fast rope. It's not very hard. You just
Yeah, I mean,
don't fall off.
and plus there's just a pass fail at that. So there's no,
Yeah.
I don't know if you should. It's you're good or you're not. good.
Yeah. Did a lot of fast roping in the military, and it's in about 2 weeks you can get comfortable with it.
Do you think there will ever be an airsoft game where somebody's going to skydive into the AO? It could be 20 years
Hasn't
down
that
the
been
road.
done?
Do you think it'll ever happen?
No, but like a player,
Like a player.
like an airdrop,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, hasn't somebody
C-130
done
jump
that?
out.
I thought that happened in Europe. Hold on, I'm gonna look that up. I could be completely wrong.
like squirrel suit and parachute. Like they're
Oh, they're gliding in.
Wingsuiting, huh?
Holy shit!
yeah. The guitar solo from Freebird is playing as they're like squirrel suiting in.
You'd have to get Travis Pastrana. It's
I'm gonna say no, just for the simple fact that even getting an airsoft gun on a plane,
yeah,
pretty rough.
so yeah, but like
Private helicopter.
you could do it privately.
Yeah,
you could do.
you
it
would have
privately.
to do it private because
Yeah.
if
I don't know
any
if I
commercial or commercial group that does skydiving, their insurance won't allow them to do that.
I mean, it all depends on the classification of an airsoft gun, I guess. But you're probably right. But man, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Man, that'd be. You're like fighting through the town, and you look up and you just see like 10 parachutes. You're like, fuck, they got.
So I'm gonna say I'm gonna have to try that first, jumping in somewhere,
Smart
see how
answer.
it works. Yeah.
Very smart answer.
It's kind of the scary thing about like skydiving, right? I never did skydiving. Is that you can do everything correctly. You can pack your chute right. You can jump out at the optimal altitude. You can pull your ripcord, and still,
If it's your day,
something may happen.
Yeah.
and it's like
still wind up.
If you subscribe
face
to the theory that every moment of time is a branch off into another alternative universe, and there's an infinite amount of alternative universes, there's a universe where it is normal for people to skydive into airsoft,
and they like it. And it's very
and nothing bad happens, and we're just in the wrong universe.
Right? Yeah.
You could create that timeline, right? You could create it by going to like skydive the ranch and be like, "Hey, man,
This conversation started it.
this is it, right?
With that
this is the
theory-
genesis."
We're just in the wrong
Anthony,
universe.
with that theory, there's also a universe where airsoft is the best thing since sliced bread, and there's never arguments in a game ever.
And all actual wars are settled with airsoft guns.
There's
Kind of like in Yu-Gi-Oh, where they settle the fate of the world with the children's card game.
That means that there's a universe where home discipline of your children is shooting them with a minigun, airsoft gun. That's
Yeah.
also a universe right there. Talk about you.
An
Camo.
alternative dimension where the animals shoot back. The animals call their hits.
They call it.
Now, we've talked about what cool things you wish you could do with AMS. Is there any cool AOs that you want, but you haven't been able to get yet that you can talk about?
Fort Knox.
That's on my list too. I still want to play there.
We've been pretty fortunate. Most of the stuff we've went after, we were able to get. There always been a couple of them that you want to go to, and that would have like be awesome. You even get to visit, and they're like, "What do you do again?" Yeah, no.
Oh, that brings up a good question, actually. So when you guys go to these places, do you have like a presentation you have to do, like PowerPoint video type thing?
We have that.
Yeah.
Luckily, a lot of the places we go to, they don't require it. You know,
They kind of
especially-
understand what airsoft is, and
Well, especially like if it's a government-owned facility
yeah.
that the government trains there, they know exactly what you're coming in to do. So,
Okay, yeah. So the word's kind of spread like this
Yeah.
is a thing.
yeah.
You know that AO in California? I think it's in California where they have the planes, and it's like hostage rescue training site.
Mm.
Oh, Lion
It-
Claws uses that. It's like an abandoned airfield.
Is it a big AO?
I've never actually been out there.
I think that's just the boneyard. I don't think
Yeah, I think it's just a boneyard of an airfield or
Like
airport.
I don't know if it's a huge AO or if it's just a place where a small group of airsofters have come to just kind of do hostage rescue simulations.
I think that's exactly what Lion Claws does with it, because I never see gameplay footage of like force on force outside of we're going to plan and choreograph how to raid a airplane like it's the movie SWAT.
yeah.
I don't think that would really work well anyway, right? Like
No, probably not. It would get very speed softy very quickly, just like with mall games. Everybody envisions that the mall games are going to be the highest quality Milsim, room clearing, this, that, and the other, but there's nothing in there because it's an empty mall. It's just speed softing from one empty store to another.
So, what would you think about Rainbow Six Casino?
That would be dope. That would be awesome.
a casino?
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you've played Rainbow Six back in the day.
I have, yes.
Dude, great game.
That
But
was
like-
Las Vegas.
Yeah, Rainbow
Mhm.
Six Vegas and Vegas 2. Love that game. That would be amazing.
So here's my the airsoft player in me says it would be awesome because there'd be craps tables and what do they call it?
Slot machines.
slot machines and like bars and stuff. But in reality, the only way to play inside of a casino, they're going to gut everything out. So it's just going to be one big open room.
Well, that's kind of like the mall game.
all the casinos I went to in Vegas essentially are just huge open spaces
Yeah.
so they can fit all the slot machines. So I don't know if it still had stuff in there, man, it'd be cool. Man.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to, because we always, especially back when I was playing all the time, it was like, dude, go to an old casino where they're going to mothball everything in it.
Yeah.
Leave all the machines, all the tables.
And it'd be such a cool dynamic too, because the first floor is always like the casino area, and then as you go up, it's hotel rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
it's like,
so 80s.
well, it's like,
Well, it's still like that in Vegas to this day.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like the environment changes for you as a player because you're
Plus,
clearing
there's
out
usually
this-
restaurants.
Yeah,
And there's usually
yeah.
outdoor areas for recreation. There's
There's-
usually a gym somewhere in the casino area.
There's
Play style would be so 80s, especially in the casino where like you have to duck to take
Well, so
cover,
the other thing too
you
is
know?
that
and you're running, you're flipping tables over, you're like, you know.
we're all thinking about it as airsofters that want the highest Milsim experience. So, like, I hate to reference a video game, but we're thinking about it like we're playing Ready or Not. That would
Yeah.
be dope.
It'd be fun.
And as an airsofter, I also know it would very quickly devolve into just speed softing around corners because it'd be a big empty CQB area at a building. And that's how ops like that usually end up. And it's
If it still had everything in it, it would be
Yeah.
a different dynamic. And also, speed softening around corners is pine corners. That's also Milsim, right?
Casino,
I'm
guys?
more referencing to like the mall because like I've been to 3 mall games and it always ended with just sprinting around corners and end up getting shot, and it kind of sucked.
Well, but
gas guns only.
Now that
would be interesting.
that'd
But
be interesting.
but think about the layout of a mall.
Yeah,
Malls
it's
are
very linear.
generally linear with stores on each side.
Yeah.
Casinos are not like casinos are designed to keep you inside,
That's true.
right? So there's some wacky shit going on.
It could be way more interesting than the mall games then.
Sure, and then introduce air assets where you're fast roping onto the roof. So you've got an asset doing a top down clear while everybody's fighting in the casino, and then some guys make it up the stairs up into the hotel area. Like, oh man, dude, there's a lot of cool stuff
That could be
happen there.
wacky, but awesome.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. You couldn't fit 500 players in there, but
No, do 100 on each team.
Yeah.
It would be expensive as shit, but it would be so fucking cool.
yeah, you
right?
would make a fucking dime on that.
If event producers just had like really good funds and really good lawyers, like anything can be bought out. Like
Yeah.
Hollywood movies rent things out and they destroy it and then build it back up so that they can film whatever they're filming. You know, in Airsoft is just a theatrical production at the end of the day.
So if you had unlimited funds, $100 billion, what AO would you get and what would you do with it?
First would probably be I would get a casino in Vegas.
Well, with that type of money, dude, you might as well just rent out the whole strip.
I don't know if that's
Right.
enough.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That might not be enough.
Yeah,
Dude, and
that's why just one of the
It's
old
Vegas.
buildings. Yeah.
a Milsim that takes place on an entire strip in Vegas.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
So my pipe dream, I'll let you answer this in a minute, but the like my $100 billion pipe dream is to go to a local town, right? So we'll just say New Windsor, right? Go to New Windsor and be like, hey, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, tell everybody they can still live their lives. Just make sure they're wearing iPro. That's all I got to do. And the fight happens in the town. You can't go inside anybody's house or any buildings or anything like that, but you can fight through the streets of the town, man, with local populace and everything. It'd be freaking awesome.
You'd have
That
to
would
be
be
like,
cool,
you'd
yeah.
have to be the emperor of the town
Yeah.
in order to actually make that
I know.
happen.
It's a pipe dream, but man, that would
That'd be
Yeah,
dope.
so
that
cool.
would be sick.
You're fighting through like hedge bushes, and it'd be awesome. But
Being someone that's lived in New Windsor my entire life, that would be dope as shit.
right, like
There's so much more room than you think there.
you'd have to like take over whole neighborhoods and stuff. That'd be awesome.
Oh, 100%.
You could
Right
have
there.
2,000 players. Like
You could have way more than that.
You can recruit civilians.
Yeah.
You want to get these people out of your town, huh?
Red Dawn right there.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
You just made Anastasia in real life.
For real, right?
So what
and
would
then
you,
you get the air ass.
what would you do?
What would you do?
I would probably go to Bragg.
So, where's that? Georgia.
Mhm.
So, do they have like some crazy facility there? Or I've actually never been to Bragg.
Well, it's not called Bragg anymore.
Oh, what's it called now?
Man, what is it called now?
Camp Freedom. Eagle.
Jamie.
Yeah.
Oh, did it get Me Too'd with the whole
Yeah.
Camp Perfect Human Being?
Yeah. No, they've got some remarkable mountain sites.
Yeah.
And that's where Green Berets and shit train.
Right. Okay. So I had heard.
Special operations.
So I had heard, and I'm completely ignorant to this, and it might have been like a History Channel documentary, right? And maybe it was SEAL Team 6. I don't remember, but
No, it is.
this
It got changed to Fort Liberty.
Yeah, Liberty. That's
Oh, I was right.
Yeah.
Good. So I heard that there's an island. Like they created this training area. It's an entire island, and there's like different mount facilities on the island for these like special units to go out there. And it's like there's no prying eyes type thing. That would be
that'd be perfect.
right.
Fast boat in and
Oh,
or
man.
jump in or
Oh,
helo.
man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, submarine.
Oh
You
yeah.
could do that with a SEAL
Little
delivery
DSV.
vehicle.
Well, they also do some wild shit out of Bragg because, like, for the Delta dudes, they do Robin Sage every year, where
that incorporates the town though.
that incorporates
Yeah.
the town, but much like you were just talking about with
Yeah.
potentially playing Airsoft in an entire town,
Yeah, that'd be-
they have everyone in the town in on the fact that they're using it as basically a scenario for Delta dudes. Because Kyle Lamb from Viking Tactics has a wild story he talked about on a podcast where they ended up going after the wrong dude during this, and it like escalated to like county sheriffs being called on them, not realizing that it was part of this training exercise.
This dude was just going out to get milk.
That's kind of what it was. He like, not to steal his story, but he was like, yeah, they told us don't go over like 40 or 50 miles an hour. We were doing 60. And they said, don't crash anyone that wasn't wearing a helmet. And he wasn't. But the guy in charge told me, run him off the road.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like he's got a wild story. It was on one of the Black Rifle Coffee podcasts, but they talk about like the crazy shit they did in the Fort Bragg area just with the training exercises. Their mount town as well as the stuff they do. Insane.
Dude, living in that town must be like living in a GTA server.
Oh, man.
Like there's just shit happening
Yeah.
all over the place. I think Fort is it not Fort Drum?
Well, Drum's the one upstate.
Yeah, the training facility at Fort Knox. Supposedly, and this my information's way old, but
Zussman?
is it Sussman?
Yeah, it's Zussman.
It's at the time it was like the most technologically advanced mount facility ever. And did they do airsoft games there?
They did. Lion Claws used to do a game there.
So
they used to switch off with Irene every year. It was at MUTC one year, then Zussman the next year.
Yeah, and then like they have a water tower there, and it looks like a water tower, and it's painted and everything. It looks just like a water tower, but it's actually a control center, and it's got 360 panoramic glass that everybody and all these cameras. So they're like, "Hey, we need an explosion over here," and they're like, "Oh, okay." Boop. They press a button, boom, explosion. Hey, that car needs to be on fire. Roger that. Press a button, car's on fire. That would be
Yeah, that'd be
the one.
Yeah. that'd be pretty legit.
Would right.
I'm wondering what happened there because that was like MUTC, Zussman, and Drum are like the three places I haven't been to yet that I really want to play Airsoft. And we know what happened with Drum, and we know what happened with MUTC.
Yeah.
But Zussman, like, there's no story there. Like, nothing was ever explained why all of a sudden they were just like, no, you can't do Airsoft here anymore.
Yeah, they lost all the gold, or they moved all the gold from Fort Knox or whatever. But
Maybe.
all right, but anyway, that's gonna wrap it up from my end. Cody, thanks for coming out. Thanks for spending some time with us. It's been great. Good time.
Yeah, enjoyed it.
So, do you have any parting words? Where can we find you on the interwebs?
Well, I would say I'm on Facebook, but I never look at it.
Yeah, me neither.
I am on there somewhere. Instagram is basically where you can find me.
That's just American Milsim.
Cody.AMS.
Cody.AMS over at American Milsim. Don't forget, guys. Well, I guess it's a little late. Eastern Front is this weekend. It's
Yes.
tomorrow. And also Arsenal over at MUTC. Do you have any other events coming up after that?
So after that, we are going to Northern Front. Then we'll take our summer break. And then in 90 days from the 5th, we open up tickets for Copperhead already.
Where's Copperhead going?
Copperhead is Playas, New
Playas,
Mexico.
All right. So with that, guys, God bless. And I'm out.